Hello everyone, how are we all? I am fucking annoyed. Very fucking annoyed. I've had the system update, as always. I don't know why, I don't know what it was updating. It doesn't seem to have demonstrably made any fucking difference whatsoever. But it decided to do it just before I wanted to go live. Which is super awesome, I think we can all agree. Fucking hell, man. So I haven't literally haven't had the opportunity to fucking sort my camera out. It's literally the same fucking background. The cat picture, the silly meme, right? As yesterday. Because I was about to start setting everything up, and then all of a sudden, oh, we're gonna have to close your fucking computer down. I couldn't even stop it. It just happened. Is it my computer, or is it the fucking Microsoft's computer? Should I let Helena know you've unboomed yourself? Firstly, don't put it like that. I don't care. Watch the profanity. You're not new here. What are you talking about? Anyway, so yeah. So basically, I'm fucking late. Although technically we did. Well, she said 9-ish. So technically it is 9-ish. But I let her know. I said, like, my computer's a fucking cunt. I didn't put it quite as aggressively as that, of course, but there we go. Turn that off. That don't need to be on. How are we all? You know what I blame? I blame the fucking wireless headphones I've been trying to set up all fucking day. I say that. I tried for about 20 minutes. I think they work, but I don't know. I'm going to test them after the show. Yes. Anyway, how are we all? Don't forget you can. You literally you type that in. Okay. Well, I've sent the fucking thing anyway, so I don't care. Sharp. Right. You can give me money to help not be as much of a boomer, possibly in the future. Maybe. In the form of bits and subs. If you're on YouTube, hello YouTube. You can become a member for as little as 99p, and you can do super chats and all of that sort of thing if you wanted to. I will read them out. Yes. Speaking of the devil, not that she is actually evil incarnate, although, you know, it's pretty badass, you know. Hello there, Helena, how are you?
Yeah, they're pretty good. I had a rubbish day playing Magic, but I'm looking forward to the stream today.
All right. Well, I was about to start setting my stream up, as you do, and then Microsoft decided to bend me over and roughly fuck me, but not in a good way.
Oh no!
By updating everything for some reason. It didn't make any difference, I don't think. But it did take about half an hour.
It's Bill
So,
Gates. Bill Gates interfering to stop you from preaching the gospel of billionairecide, which we're definitely not doing. That's a joke.
well, of course, yeah. The trebuchet
Oh, sorry,
is,
my chat can't hear you. Sorry, my chat couldn't hear you. Sorry.
that's probably for the best, in all honesty. Like, let's be honest. Like, if you have an opportunity to hear me or not hear me, I mean, literally, when polled, the British people decided that silence was preferable to the Birmingham accent. Which is, I mean, it's difficult to spin that as a positive review. Like, you don't put that one in the scrapbook, do you? And mine's quite a mild one, but I understand. I mean, the thick Brummie accent is. Honestly, you won't meet a single Brummie who doesn't think we sound fucking stupid. We do. We sound dumb, just naturally.
Like that Samuel Leeds guy had quite the accent.
Yeah, and he's not even the worst, by all means. There are some genuine belters. If you look up a guy called Carl Chin, that's 2 N's. He's a Birmingham historian. He's okay. He's a perfectly good historian. And he's sort of a professional regionalist, if you will. And he talks like a cunt. Honest to God, no one talks like him. He's made up his own version of a kind of Brummie yam mix, and it's just appalling.
That's what I like about Lady Alicia, because she raps in a Birmingham accent.
Yeah, that's fine. And also, I mean, a lot of Afro-Caribbeans, a lot of people of BME mixture sort of add their own twang into it, and so it sounds sort of okay.
Yeah, for sure.
It's your white people, it's your rednecks, it's your solid Birmingham rednecks.
I was gonna from the black country, so I almost said something that would have sounded really racist.
I have to explain constantly when I refer to the black country in America. I'm not like talking about Nigeria. That's not what that means. It's not a racial thing. It's an area of the Midlands called that because of the smoke during the Industrial Revolution. Everything was covered in black soot, so that's why it's called that. Of course, the fantastic Lenny Henry line, who's of course his parents came over from Jamaica, and the reason they settled there, he says, obviously I don't think it's really true, was that they saw a sign saying welcome to the black country, and they said, but the Queen set aside some land for us. Brilliant. Unpack the dominoes. Yes. So what was I fucking saying? I can't even remember. I can't remember. But anyway,
all of this stemmed from the idea that my chat couldn't hear you, and you were saying it's probably a good thing.
As poorly as the Birmingham accent is thought of amongst the British populace, clearly not as much as the current Prime Minister, apparently.
No, the Labour Party more generally.
Yeah, they're literally. There's a couple of things to pick out from recent polling, shall we say? And I'll give one. See, I'm so unprepared now. I don't even have Twitter open to show you the bookmarks of the thing. That's how fucking annoying I am. Anyway, yeah, there's a couple of belters. So, firstly, the polling suggesting that Labour are literally deadlocked now with the Tory party on 27%.
Is that the lowest ever combined polling?
It must be.
Major parties
it must be. Well, this is the thing. Obviously, the sort of two things to pluck out of this. Firstly, they are as unpopular as the cancerously unpopular Conservative Party. Hilarious. And secondly, neither of the major parties can garner, within the margin of error of a quarter of the popular vote. That's as bad as it's got now.
Yep. And of course, as we literally all predicted, because it was obvious to anybody with even like a shred of material analysis, of course, the beneficiaries of such political discontent are indeed the far right.
Yeah, look at them. Reform are within striking distance. Now, of course, given the first past the post system, even with this result, they'd still end up with like 30 seats or something. Like they wouldn't get, because they just don't have the kind of concentrated support. But even so, like it's so embarrassing how they've pissed away their political capital, and it's not like they've done anything. They genuinely haven't even started to do the bad shit yet.
They've announced like one bad thing, and then there was a media story, and that's been enough to tank them because they weren't offering anything.
They weren't offering anything, and this is the thing that shows you how little the British public actually follow politics. Anyone with any sense and was following the story could have told you they weren't offering anything. So then when they don't deliver anything, why are you surprised? Why would that change their popularity? They were never offering anything. Why could you possibly be surprised about here? Oh yeah, that's right, you got your wallet inspected, you twats. Jesus
Literally,
fucking
I was just like,
Christ.
is this good? Is this the adults in the room?
Yeah, I had a little dig at Jonathan Pye on the Twitters the other day, literally going on about this, and I was like, you got what you wanted. You wanted the adults back in the room. Well, fucking enjoy it, you prick. Like, this is literally what we said was going to happen, and you went student politics, jam man, Brexit. Well, welcome to your fucking world of perpetual David Cameronism.
Wonderful, isn't it? Big fan.
Literally eternal Osborne economics. Fucking end it. Just sink us beneath the waves.
End me. And yeah, just get rid of it. Just get rid of.
Honestly, global warming can't come fucking quick enough. It's just unbelievable. And then a delightful addition to that, so within sort of some of it, is this little poll. What has Labour done best? 3% winter fuel, 3% strikes, 3% this, 43% nothing.
Oh, we shouldn't laugh. It's really fucking miserable. It's funny.
Well, it's sort of a gallows humour, I think. Yeah. I think you're allowed. Yeah. The thing is, the victim of austerity, I'm allowed to laugh at them suffering. Fuck them. Cunts.
The worst, because the biggest problem about all of this is just that all of the people who told us that this was going to be, that this was the thing that we all had to support, and that we couldn't do anything more than this because that was unelectable.
It's not an issue. It's not an issue. Yeah. What? It's not an issue. I don't know why you're making an issue of it. It's not an issue. Okay?
It's clearly not.
Unbelievable. They're so shit. They're so fucking shit. It's remarkable. Anyway, so that I do have to say their comeuppance coming quite so quick is the only surprise. Again, I thought they would make it to the new year, but no, they're literally
the 100
cratered.
Days is supposed to be the first 100 days is supposed to be the time period where you get to like stamp your mark of authority on the British population. You get to, garner the support for the direction that you're taking the country in, and all they've done is just go, everything's shit and we can't do anything and you're going to be miserable forever. And you're like, great, brilliant, love it. But again, this is master political strategy from Morgan McSweeney, who is going to make the Labour Party the natural party of government, if you could believe such a thing.
Yeah. And as if you wanted any further proof of what a bunch of losing pricks they are, Ashworth has gone to America to advise the Kamala Harris campaign, and in the time that he's been there, she's lost 3 points in the polling, and they're dead level again.
Literally, they're just all you needed to do was to just offer the voting public literally anything as far as good policy was concerned, rather than get caught up in whatever turf war the Republicans want you to go on. And they have literally taken the bait.
Yep.
So that all of Trump's kind of deranged nonsense, it gets completely avoided because all they're doing is accepting the Republican framing on immigration and on fucking asylum seekers.
She's literally said that she's going to put together, that she being Kamala Harris has put together this thing like she's going to have a bipartisan committee to look at policy and blah blah blah. Like, is there a candidate they can vote for that will stop the Republicans from enacting their policies? Is there literally anyone? Is there any person who will stop the Republicans at all?
This is what's so infuriating, is because at the very least, right, with Joe Biden, genocide notwithstanding, not a sentence you really like to say, but hey ho, right? But even when you look at if you just take the economic policy within the abstract, and to a lesser extent social policy, they firmly rebuked the Republican consensus on this. They deficit spent. They spent it on investment. They kind of revolutionized the way in which the American state is supposed to run. They literally had the founder of modern monetary theory herself, Stephanie Kelton, advising Bernie Sanders as head of the Senate Budget Committee. And they genuinely pushed things like there was some student debt cancellation, not very much though, because of them being weak as shit. But you've got investments in green energy, you've got expanded child tax credit, loads of things that were very anti-Republican. And they could have literally gone into this election if you receive the child tax credit, the advanced child tax credit, you would have been a recipient of the massive reduction in child poverty overall. They could run on this. They could then take that and then run on it again and say, look, we're going to make your lives better. We're going to increase your standard of living like we did last time after you were hurt by the inflation caused by Trump being in government. Because that's when the inflation started, when Trump was in government.
Yeah.
Are they doing any of this stuff and running on the economy, the single strong policy they have? No. Now they're fucking banging on about having a bipartisan immigration bill. It's so stupid.
It really
They just
is.
like they want to lose.
But on the point, a third possible Trump assassination. I didn't realise this was going to become a meme. This is like a repeated pattern now, apparently. As an attempted thwarted an armed man outside his rally in Coachella. But yeah, he went to Coachella in California. What are you... Is Trump actually running a presidential campaign? Or just like a kind of jolly? Because he doesn't... Like, he's going to states he can't win, or states that he's going to win by 20 fucking points. So why... Like, he doesn't seem to want to go to the battleground states, or if he does weird events with fucking Elon Musk coked off his nut. Like...
I mean, literally... I just feel like it feels like the only person that the Democrats could win against in this election is Donald Trump. He's such a fucking idiot.
Yeah. Anyone else, they'd be actually fucking cratering, yes. But Donald Trump is so bad at this. Like, he's just trying to make money. Do you see he's selling 100 grand watches to his audience? Like, and how often can you get scammed before it stops being a scam and is just like a tax on fucking idiocy?
Yeah, Darwin tax.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I stopped feeling sorry for you after like the third or fourth time, I think.
Honestly, I kind of want to make Trump-themed merchandise now. It's this fucking easy money.
Literally, there is a fantastic article out there somewhere that a pair of young black lads who wanted to fund their college experience literally started printing Trump stuff and following him around during the summer, and they made enough to literally pay for their college.
They were literally a January 6th.
Yeah, but they weren't like Trump supporters.
No.
In fact, they were literally saying, "I don't like him. I wouldn't vote for him." And they were literally saying that they literally made a fucking fortune selling like bootleg knockoff shithouse stuff to these Trump supporters.
Yeah,
easy money.
Like going outside Manchester Academy and selling like fake band t-shirts.
Oh yeah, I loved that. I used to buy loads of fake fucking t-shirts because it didn't matter if they only lasted a couple of wears because they were £2. So who gives a fuck? It's fine. Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah. I never bought authentic stuff. £20 for a t-shirt? You fucking joking? I don't care if it lasts a year. Fuck you.
I mean, it's how they have to fund themselves because music as a product is worth nothing in the world of streaming, unfortunately.
True, but I'm old enough that I started going. I stopped going to gigs when streaming became big. No, I just happened to be that way. I didn't make the decision because of that. But yeah, Napster was just happening back when I was a young thing. I promised myself I wouldn't become the fat old prick at the back of the room because I used to look down on that guy like scum. Like, young people are awful. And I said, I won't become that person. So I don't go to gigs anymore. Fuck it. I'm not being the fat old prick at the back of the room. I'm not doing it. Anyway. It's one concession to youth or whatever. I don't know. Anyway. So yeah, Trump didn't get killed again today. And that's a good thing. Honest. Anyway. Shall we do some Laura Koonsberging?
Let's do it. Let's just fire it up.
Let's fucking go. Don't forget, if you're enjoying the content, you can do bits messages.
Give us fucking money.
Basically, yes. You can do bits messages or become a subscriber. Gift subscriptions. You've got Amazon Prime. You've got super chats. You've got memberships for as little as 99p, etc., etc. You know what to do.
Super Chatsky.
True.
Alex Salmond, who so nearly led Scotland to independence and changed the UK, has died. He took the...
I love it when transphobes die. Just saying. Yeah.
SNP from the fringes to become
also,
a conquering force.
Also, he died at 69. Nice. And secondly, in Macedonia,
As you do.
you're a fool unto yourself if you thought he was going to die anywhere but North Macedonia. I had him pinned as definitely dying in Skopje every single time. Yeah.
Absolutely, yeah. Where else would he be?
On an
Yeah.
official
Oh,
government
shit.
press release.
Hang on a minute. We'll go back right to the start. Fuck it.
We'll be joined by John Swinney, Scotland's First Minister and the leader of the SNP. Keir Starmer's big promise to all of us was to fix the economy. But after 100 days in office, we'll ask, can the government make us better off? The minister...
Oh, God, I hate neoliberalism so much. Why is that a fucking question? Yes, they can. Of course they fucking can. It's how. Surely the question is, how should they best try and accomplish that? Not, is the government so fucking shit we should give up on it and become fucking cavemen again? Fucking hell.
have already offended one big business, the owner of P&O Ferries. The transport...
That cunt
The
need...
story was...
That cunt... honestly, I want to bring the trebuchet onto his fucking front lawn. Why do I care? Why do I fucking care? That man should be in jail. He's hurt feelings.
He's literally a criminal.
Yeah. Fucking
P&O
evil
broke the
bastard.
fucking law.
Sack...
Turns out you can get away with breaking the law if you are an emir.
Basically, yes. Yeah.
Transport Secretary said she would boycott their boats. So this morning with us, a business secretary and a banker, Jonathan Reynolds for the government, and Charlie Nunn, the boss of Britain's biggest bank, Lloyds.
Oh, a pair of wankers. Awesome.
Literally the two people I despise the most in the world. Labour Party members, Labour Party cabinet members and bankers.
Yeah. Honestly, there is not a skip big enough that I need to throw them both into, metaphorically, in Minecraft, of course.
And the race for the Tory crown is down to 2. Robert Jenrick will be with us today to answer some of your questions.
Oh God, no,
It's
not
just
Bobby
a
J.
cavalcade of pricks. That's all she's got today, is just wankers. Brilliant. Is there not at least like a random... Hey, there we go. I was about to say, is there not at least a random actor and then Brian Cox appears on my screen looking suspiciously like Colonel fucking Sanders? What's going on here? Get me my fucking chicken!
And our team at the desk for the next hour this week. Brian Cox, the actor and supporter of Scottish independence.
And purveyor of some of the most delicious and unhealthy food on earth. Okay?
Oh my God. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna say something controversial. I mean, I've obviously said it to my stream because it's about fried chicken.
Go on,
Therefore, I've had this conversation already
Okay.
because it's me.
Okay.
But Popeyes way better than KFC. KFC no longer top dog.
I don't think I've ever had Popeyes.
Next time you come to Nottingham, if you like fried chicken, right, we'll go. I will take you to Popeyes. It'll blow your socks off.
I don't like the presumptuousness that I would ever go to Nottingham again. And there's no
True,
reason
true.
for me to necessarily go there.
But you're currently in Birmingham. How much worse can it get?
Well, exactly, but if I leave, they might not let me back in and all my stuff's here. They might wall it off and become a medieval shithouse again. I don't know. I can't take that risk. It's the only bit of highland available. Honestly, if you're going to play the long game, Birmingham's the place to be. It's a shithouse now, but as we sink beneath the waves, we will become a tropical lowland paradise. Seafront. Honestly, my house is going to be a seafront view in the next 20 years, I promise. Going to be worth a fortune.
The Lib Dems deputy leader Daisy Cooper and the billionaire businessman John Caldwell.
What, the Liberal Democrats exist? Oh, so hang on a minute. Oh, whoa. Rewind.
Rewind.
John Caldwell? Why the fuck is this cunt still getting airtime? What the hell has he done to deserve continual platforming by our crappy, shitty media?
Sorry, it wasn't John Ashworth. What are you on about? There's the... Oh,
might
it's
well
another
be.
one. It's another one. These fucking whiteoids, man. They're everywhere. Oh yeah, and there's an amazing cock-up. I have seen a couple of clips of this. There's an amazing cock-up she makes talking to whoever it was. I think it might have been the Labour guy. about it being a government press release when it wasn't. Amazing. Just basic fact checking. Superb.
Morning. Let's start by looking at the news headlines. And of course, it's dominated by the death of Alex Salmond. It's on the front page of the Sunday Times today. And right across.
And of course, he's done what all of his kind do and swum back upstream to the place they were born in order to die. That's how it works. He avoided all of the bears, and because his name's Salmon. No, so you people don't appreciate me. I'm before my time, clearly. Hello there, Boy Meets Minnie. Everyone go and follow Boy Meets Minnie immediately.
Absolutely.
Across the Scottish front pages, the National splashing with his final words in public: Scotland is a country, not a county. Keir Starmer's been talking to the...
I mean, geographically, he's absolutely correct about that. He is absolutely... Yeah. He has counties in it, but a county is a subset of a country. He's got his set theory absolutely lovely. Well done. In some respects, that is the one respect in which I'm not happy he's dead. So...
The Sunday Mirror, marking 100 days of Labour in power, and the Mail on Sunday claims that the Met was forced by the Attorney General to give Taylor Swift blue light escorts to her...
But that's, honestly, this is such a non-stop... They're acting like this is fucking Watergate, right? She'd received fucking... literally, ISIS had tried to blow up her fucking Vienna gigs like 2 weeks before this. I'm disgusted by the Met not giving her increased fucking security. Like, I mean, I fucking hate her. She's a billionaire who would fly from her living room to her fucking toilet when she needed a shit, if she could, right? I don't like her, but she's a big person who can garner a massive crowd, which makes that a policing and security concern. Give her the escort then. I don't give a fuck. Yeah, I don't want fucking bombs going up. We saw what happened with the fucking Ariana Grande thing in Manchester a few years ago. Yeah. Let's stop that from happening. Better safe than sorry, eh? And they're acting like, aren't these the fucking law and order people? Aren't these the cracking down on terrorism people? And they're like, we shouldn't give Taylor Swift security. She's only going to do a run of 10 fucking dates at Wembley or something. What the fucking stop yourself. Have a fucking word.
Shows at Wembley. Well, warm welcome to all three of you this morning. Let's start talking about Alex Salmond. Brian, you knew him well. You even appeared recently on one of his new TV programmes he was doing on Turkish TV. What are your memories of him?
Of course he was on Turkish TV. Did he spend any time in Scotland anymore? He was just on Turkish TV talking. He was mainly in the Balkans, if we're being entirely honest.
At the end of the day, we're trying to say that once he stopped realising that he was not going to be... Once he started realising he wasn't going to be the face of independence anymore, it's just like, well, I guess I'll, make the most of what the time I've got left and just grift off of it anyway.
Yeah, true. Oh, apparently there is one. There's one on New Street in Birmingham. I've probably walked past it then. I don't even know.
Honestly, I mean, a story about Popeyes as well is that when they were trying to get Popeyes to take off in the UK... They have normal and the spicy version of the fried chicken, and all of the Londoners were like, no, it has to be spicier. Your American spicy is not good enough. So British Popeye spicy is spicier than American Popeye spicy chicken.
Yeah, because they've got they're mostly selling to white people in America.
True.
Whereas in Britain, well, I mean, in Britain we've got white people too, but we've got like white people who've been raised on Indian food. Like we like a spice. We're not we're not your normal whites. Were you spicy whites? That's a
spicy whites.
That's weird, Kev. Don't do this.
He was a lot of fun. He was very entertaining. He had great humanity. He was probably, I think, one of the greatest political thinkers that certainly Scotland has ever produced, and I think possibly...
no.
Damning indictment on Scotland, clearly.
No, for a couple of reasons. Firstly, Scotland has produced actual, theoreticians and stuff, so that's silly.
The Prime Minister?
Yeah, there's loads of stuff. Anyway, the point being, he wasn't a great thinker. He was just a good politician. which they are different things. There are very rarely do mainstream politicians write theory, for instance, certainly in the modern era. He was a very good politician who very nearly became a massively historical figure by breaking up the United Kingdom. Doing what the IRA were trying to do, but without bombs. God, Kev. Anyway, so like he was a good politician, but the idea of him being a great political thinker, just saying I'd like this bit of the country to not be a part of that bit of the country, it's not a massively like expansive piece of economic theory or something. It's pretty straightforward.
Yeah, quite so. John DeBreast in chat. I detest Alex Salmond's transphobia, but I did enjoy the Shrek films.
That's true. I mean, I liked the fact that he was voiced by Eddie Murphy. Hey, I was saying he was a donkey. Anyway, yeah, he was not a looker, to be honest.
Also, Ben Sharp in chat is enjoying his economic autism benefits. I don't know what you think it is referring to, Kevin, but in Kemi Badenoch's Renewal 2030 document, she claimed that autistic children are having benefits that everybody else doesn't have, and that the economy was being destroyed by gay marriage.
True and based, yes. These things are all true, and they're good. Is all I have to say to that, yes.
Yeah.
I that's why I like gay marriage. It's because it's destroying society.
True. I mean, imagine if you gave me the choice. Even if I was homophobic, I'd just be like, well, I may disagree with gay marriage in this theoretical world, but I also disagree with the existence of the United Kingdom. So if the United Kingdom is going to get destroyed by a gay marriage, then I say bring it on.
Yeah, exactly. That's true. If you were a homophobe, like there probably would actually, if there were homophobic Republicans, they'd be torn, wouldn't they? Do I support gay marriage, or do I support the is my opposition to the existence of Britain, or the United Kingdom, does that outweigh my hatred of gay people? Oof, don't know. Have I shown No Justice the Cars IRA video yet? I have not shown her that. I don't know if it's her sort of thing. It's funny as fuck. There's oh god. Okay, so there's a video about, you know, the movie franchise Cars, the Pixar thing. There's a video out there of a German guy explaining how in that universe the IRA exists.
So if it's a whole vast video essay, link me. I will definitely watch it.
No, it's only like a minute long or something. It's like a TikTok thing, but it is very, very funny. If someone links it, I'll fucking play it. Bollocks to it. It's well inside TOS. It's not like advocating for the IRA or anything. Because then, if you do that, you become a member of Parliament for fucking for the Respect PLC. Not Respect, Reform. Anyway, so this thing.
This is my presentation on the Batman villains I think are most likely to go onto the Joe Rogan podcast.
No, that's not the right one. That isn't the one. Cars. Here we go. Fuck's sake.
Hello everybody, this is my presentation on why the Irish Republican Army canonically exists in the Disney Pixar Cars universe. Let's start at the beginning. In the movie Cars 2, there's a car version of the Catholic Pope. There he is, that's him. Which there being a car Catholic Pope means that there's a full-on car Catholic religion, a car Catholic church. There being a car Catholic church means that there was a car Jesus Christ. Jesus Chrysler, if you so will. There being a car Jesus Chrysler means that car King Henry VIII, when he wanted to divorce his wife, had to split the Catholic religion and the Protestant religion into separate entities, which means the cars had two different sects of Christianity, which means that there was a car version of the Protestant Catholic struggles in the north of Ireland, which means ultimately that there was a car IRA. It probably looked something like that, but the question remains, now that we cleared this up, if the cars were the members, then what did they explode? What did they blow up? Human bombs?
Absolutely mental. Love it.
These islands have ever produced. He was an extraordinary man. I think his essential appeal.
He literally was doing a show from Edinburgh for the Turkish national broadcaster with Turkish tea and shit. That's mental. Oh, God. Oh, if only he wasn't a fucking transphobe, man. If only he hadn't spent the last 10 years being a fucking bellend.
Appeal was his humanity and how he came across to other people. I mean, you know, when I first met Alex, I was, of course, not an SNP. I was a Labour supporter. And then what happened with Labour?
Yeah, back when Labour were a party of Labour, at least a bit.
And you were just talking about that just now. It made me very disillusioned, especially with social democracy. And I felt the one place that social democracy was happening was back in my own country. So I suddenly had to rethink my whole feelings. And Alex sort of, he enabled me to do that.
So he was the conduit for you.
Very much so, very much so.
And what do you think his impact was on politics in Scotland, not just in Scotland, but actually across the UK?
Considerable, because he challenged. You know, Alex's favourite thing, ironically, when we lost the 2014 referendum, he was really looking forward to getting back into Parliament because he was a great parliamentarian, and that was his great gift. That's what he loved more than anything else, was the debate, and the debate to be, and he loved actually, ironically, being in the House of Commons, which was
in
funny.
Westminster, which for somebody who wanted
was something which was kind of, but you know, he pleaded the cause, and he pleaded the cause with, again, great humanity and great understanding of what Scotland, you know, Scotland has been a second-class nation for a long time, and
I would argue it always was. No, not that it literally should be or anything like that, but that England has always treated it like its little bitch. It came into the Union because basically it wanted England to cover its debts from a misadventure of colonialism in the Central Americas. And ever since, it's basically been slapped about by London.
Yeah.
And honestly, if they hadn't discovered oil, I think it would already have left. I think England would have let it go by now.
Yeah, probably. And even then, I mean, we just stole the oil anyway. We just reattributed a bunch of the Aberdeen oil fields to Hull instead, so they're technically ours if they leave.
So, well, some of them are, but not all of them. And you never know, they might find some more. So, like...
Yeah. Well, they might go to war. Honestly, I'm all for it. A special military operation to denazify England.
Yeah, exactly. The Nazis of Hull. And with Doncaster just down the way there, a Scotland-Hamas fucking link-up. Let's go.
Alex went to battle on that, and he made me aware of something which I'd kind of, you know, when you're young and you have ambition, you want to, and my great thing was I looked at the Tay, I come from Dundee, I looked at the Tay, and I think I'm going to cross that one day, I'm going to get down to the south. And as I got older, I realised, actually, my country's not bad. In fact, my country's pretty damn good, and I think Alex is what, he really fought for the country.
Daisy, as a Lib Dem, of course the Lib Dems have had a prominent role in Scottish politics too, but as a Lib Dem, how would you see his role in...
Well, they used to. They used to be quite big.
Changing things, not just in Scotland, but also across the UK.
Yeah, well, look, I never met him on a personal level, but I think he really typifies a particular type of politician, someone who has a lot of charisma, somebody who has a big personality, somebody who is ruthless in pursuit of the things that he really believed in. So there's no doubt. But of course, like many in the SNP, he was so focused on independence, and that was his driving cause.
This annoys me immeasurably whenever you listen to Scottish political discourse. Firstly, it is the one thing that Scottish politics is sort of defined as opposed to the rest of the country, right? That part of the political debate only exists there. The people of England are not really discussing Scottish independence or anything like that. And secondly, they're called the Scottish National Party. The one thing that defines them as not being even the old Labour Party is that they're for Scottish independence. When you say they focus on it too much, it's literally in the fucking name of the party. Like, it's literally a thing that they are. And they're the only party, other than the Scottish Greens.
No one says, oh, well, the Green Party are focusing too much on the environment. No one says that.
Well, the law says that, unfortunately. If you focus on it a bit too much, you get sent to prison for many years. Anyway, that's a different matter.
Not even if you focus on it. If you conspire to potentially focus on it.
Yeah, exactly. In theory, you might have focused on it, so we took the preemptive step of putting you in fucking jail forever. Don't you just love democracy and the rule of law? Anyway, yeah, like they're the only major political party. I mean, the Scottish Greens exist and they're growing, but like they're still a pretty minor party. Of the major parties that could become Scottish government parties, main government parties, they're the only ones. So the fact that they're the ones talking about this, why is it a criticism to say they're focused on that thing? Of course they're focused on that fucking thing.
In Scottish discourse, people always bang on about how the SNP aren't focusing enough on independence and they're too busy dealing with woke issues. And by too busy dealing with woke issues, they mean they passed one bill which was helping trans people to self-identify and another bill that stopped hate crimes.
And interestingly...
both of which got passed like years ago and only just went into...
And interestingly, one of the people saying that the SNP weren't focusing on independence enough and were too woke was the man who died in
Salmond.
the man who died in Skopje yesterday.
Yeah.
For most of his life. And I'm sure, all of our thoughts will be with his family and friends.
And later in the programme, we'll talk to the current First Minister, John Swinney, who's...
Well, hang on. To the non-binary says, in Scotland, the Tories' full name is Scottish Conservative and Unionist Party. Technically, they're called the Scottish and the Conservative and Unionist Party across the country as well. Yeah, and no one says you focus too much on unionism to the Tories, right? Very much so.
Who's the leader of the SNP and someone who worked alongside him for decades. We're also, though, John, going to talk a lot about the economy today. Now, just before the election, you, as a billionaire who's created a huge business, backed the Labour Party.
I would prefer the title philanthropist, although I am a businessman, but I spent all
I mean,
of my
I would.
life on philanthropy.
I would use the term trebuchet ammunition.
Yes, I would also say that. I would say someone who is very lucky that I am not in control of things. Is, But that's a bit wordy, so we'll go with trebuchet ammunition. So I don't know.
At the moment.
Okay. You have then, like everybody, been watching what's happening in the first few months of Labour in office.
It's going
and we'll hear
spectacularly
more from the
well.
Business Secretary in just a moment. But there are lots of stories and noises off in some of the news about wealthy people feeling nervous, some wealthy people even leaving the country, and particularly about the...
I'm fine with them leaving. We should stop them taking their money with them.
True. I mean, half of them only have money and property anyway, which they literally cannot take with them.
Yeah, and we can. Just saying.
Yep. Possibility of capital gains tax that's paid on share sales or selling property off, going up, perhaps even to 39%. What would you make of...
No, really?
Gods, the same value of the people who pay on the higher rate of income tax.
Whoa, that's crazy. Imagine rich people having to pay any tax. Whoa.
Yeah, in the words of Stuart Willie, I quite like actually pay no tax. And schools and hospitals and, people aren't as fortunate as me, they can go fuck themselves.
That's literally government policy. About.
Yeah.
If that happened on that specific...
On that specific, it's difficult to comment because it's not about specifics. It's about doing everything that's in balance right for Britain. We have to grow the economy.
It's not right to talk about specifics. You're talking about government policy, you dopey cunt. How can you possibly avoid talking about specifics? They're trying to write legislation to be specific to the nth degree, so that there aren't fucking loopholes. I need anger management is what I need, because this guy's going to fucking send me over the edge.
Yep.
Economy, we have to attract inward businesses. Anything that we do that might be negative to attract inward businesses and inward wealthy people is a negative. I'm not too...
No, not wealthy people. Not wealthy people. No, philanthropists. That's what we need to call them, isn't it? Not, fucking leeches, bloodsuckers, thieves. No.
Parasites.
Yeah, no, they're philanthropists. Yeah.
Worried about losing the odd few people to Monaco or wherever who want to avoid paying any tax. They've already gone, most of them, but there are issues all around the policies that we have to be very careful of. I don't agree with the non-dom, changing the non-dom rules. I think that's unfair to a section of the non-doms. Not all the non-doms, but some of the non-doms, that's unfair.
I see that you're supporting the other ammunition in this.
Fair to, and we're going to lose people that can help make Britain prosperous. But we have to take a balanced viewpoint in order to put the great back in Britain. And if we get it wrong, it's at our peril. We cannot lose too many wealthy people, but more importantly, we have to attract inward investment. That's the big thing.
Chris, don't spam in YouTube chat, please.
Okay, well, that's what the government's going to be trying to do this week. And let's hear from the business secretary, because Keir Starmer's always told anyone and any microphone within spitting distance that his first job is to sort out the economy after years of it being in the doldrums. And ministers hope this week
the big red
plenty
button.
of cheques will be written at a big business summit that they're holding tomorrow in London. But the war...
Yeah, interesting. They've not invited Elon Musk, which is fine. I don't mind that.
It's funny, isn't it?
It is funny, but they have
to be fair,
invited.
probably after the guy literally shared like deliberately
Yeah.
fucking insensitive like comics depicting Keir Starmer as like Satan or whatever it was.
Yeah,
I'm not surprised that he doesn't really want to spend much time with him.
true.
Just like his kids.
But they have invited the Saudi Arabian government. So,
Yeah, exactly. Just for the Tony Blair bucks.
Yeah. So, I mean, Elon Musk is a bad dude. As far as we're aware, he's never chopped up a journalist and put him in a barrel of acid.
Yeah, at time of recording.
At time of recording, we have no evidence that he has done that. I can't positively confirm that he hasn't, but we don't know that he has. Whereas the Saudi Arabian government definitely have done that.
That's literally a thing that we know that they did do.
Yeah. Also, just as we're talking about inward temporary migration or whatever, one person who was denied entry to the UK this week was Nelson Mandela's grandson.
Yeah.
So, there's no racism in Britain. It's fine.
I mean, it's not about racism. Have you heard that Nelson Mandela's grandson is Hamas?
Well, he did say and I think this is the genuine reason why. He said that he personally thought that the now Foreign Secretary David Lammy was a genocidal maniac. Was, I believe, the exact phrase he used a few months ago. Because he's obviously supporting Israel and he's literally funded by the Israeli lobby. That's a literal thing that David Lammy is.
Yeah, about that.
Yeah. So he literally, he intervened to stop a temporary travel visa, which, as a South African citizen, he shouldn't have needed anyway. But guess who made him apply for one? The fucking Home Office, under the direction of the Home Secretary.
All right, so Craig Teesvetter can just fucking swan into the England cricket team.
Yep.
Right, despite not being British in basically any way
Whatsoever.
Because
yes.
isn't he left back? He's left to go back to South Africa. So he was just having a fucking coal pack deal.
Yeah.
Yet the grandson of Nelson Mandela, the person who literally fought against an apartheid system that we propped up for ages.
Yep.
Not allowed because said bad words about the big dude.
Yeah. So, very normal, very good country. Absolutely. We demand to be taken seriously. Okay? Fact.
Yeah, fuck off Bryden Cast as well. You can fuck off back to that sounded really racist, sorry. So they're Afrikaners, they can deal with it.
Yeah, you can't be racist against white South Africans because they're not really people.
Exactly, never met a nice South African.
Yeah, literally.
Warm-up for that big event has been disrupted by the Transport Secretary, Louise Haigh. Now, she offended one of the huge firms that was invited, DP World, by saying that she would boycott them and...
DP World?
Just realised,
okay.
They are literally called Double Penetration World.
Yeah, okay. I mean, I'll be honest with you. It sounds like a site I might enjoy, but... we'll see.
And they were a rogue operator. Well,
I mean,
Jonathan
yeah,
Reynolds,
they
who's
are
the
indeed.
Business
That's the
Secretary,
thing
and
that
he's
they are.
They are literally that. So a Labour, this story is basically Labour cabinet member says one vaguely based thing, and the entire world melts down because you can't offend a rich person.
Yeah, literally.
Brilliant.
We can't. The thing is, it wasn't even necessarily about offence. It's just you can't say a thing that is literally 100% true.
Yeah.
P&O Ferries is a rogue operator. They broke the law. They committed a criminal offence in sacking people without due process and trying to fire and rehire them. Like, they literally broke the law, and because they're rich, they can get away with it. That's how the system works. If you have enough money that the government wants you for quote-unquote inward investment, right, you can get away with breaking the law even when the quote-unquote Labour Party is in government.
Yes.
Yet Keith Starmer, Sir Stonger himself, Sir Keith Starmer KC, out here says, actually, I would much rather suck up to the Saudi billionaires because they are people who fund the Tony Blair Institute, but rather than back up my own transport secretary in correctly describing P&O Ferries as being a rogue employer, because they literally are.
Yes.
with us now, and we'll get to all of that important stuff in a few minutes. But first of all, I just want to ask you your reaction to Alex Salmond passing away.
Of course, in the political sphere, a huge figure, formidable campaigner, great communicator. I always felt, you know, despite being for independence, he knew how to use the House of Commons. He was at home in that environment, and a huge contribution to politics, no doubt about that.
OK, and there'll be plenty more discussion of that in the programme with John Swinney later in the programme. Let's talk then about business and Labour's relationship with them. I'm going to play our audience, in case they missed it, what your colleague, the Transport Secretary Louise Hayes, said about DP World that owns P&O Ferries this week.
They're a rogue operator. We're cracking down on the way that they've treated employees, and we want to see them mirror the standards of other operators that come in and out of Great Britain's waters. They will not
travel with P&O Ferries?
No, I've been boycotting P&O Ferries for 2.5 years, and I'd encourage consumers to do the same.
OK, what part?
She's lost the whip, I'm sure. I haven't checked, but I'm sure she must have done.
It's so tilting because, like, she's literally one of the only good members of the cabinet.
Yes.
Like, I have time for Lou Haig, I have some time for Ed Miliband, and then immediately gets thrown under the bus. It just shows you that there is no room for being at least even a tiny bit left wing in the Starmer party. Just no space for it whatsoever.
No. And I guarantee
100%.
you, she'll be removed in whenever he does his first reshuffle, probably next Tuesday by the sounds of things. She'll be gone.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Morgan
100%.
McSweeney will get the hammer being swung right in her direction.
Yep.
She will fall at the axe of the cabinet reshuffle almost certainly. Because again, it's not on brand, it's not on message, which is the stupidest thing. That you're not allowed to have an opinion, especially not an opinion that should be basic Labour Party opinion, that rogue employers shouldn't be allowed to engage in trading within the United Kingdom if they break the law. It should be really, really simple. It especially burns when they're trying to ride high on the new workers' rights bill, this new deal for working people that they touted as a big piece of legislation in the run-up to the election. It was one of their most liked policies by the electorate in the run-up to the election that got people's votes, this increases of rights of working people. And the slightest pushback from one employer who has links to somebody who is a think tank that helps set policy for the Labour Party, and immediately all of that goes out the window. I'm like, oh, I'm so sorry, we don't want to inconvenience you, Mr. Businessman, even if you are a criminal, and even if you're funding people who fund our think tank. Like, ridiculous.
Yeah.
Disagree with?
Look, we have always said, and we believe, that what happened with P&O Ferries was wrong. I believe even the Conservative government at the time was clear that they believed it was wrong. The problem
I mean, they did, it's true.
It was lawful then. It's not going to be lawful now. And so we have changed the law. We've got part of our employment rights bill is what does this. And therefore,
when they got rid of some staff and then rehired them
fire,
on worse
fire and
rates.
rehire,
Yes.
and a particularly egregious case. So we were clear about that. I'm not going to recall from that position. But where companies accept that we're not allowing that to happen anymore, and we can work with them on investments into the country, we can have a conversation with them, we will do. So it's not the government's position to boycott them, but we are clear, we do not want this country competing on fire and rehire. We are changing that. This week we've seen that employment rights bill, giving more security for people in some of the lowest paid, insecure work in the country, at the same time as having our investment summit, bringing billions to the country. That is pro-business, pro-worker in action, and that is the government's position.
No, it's not.
P&O Ferries a rogue?
It's not pro-business, pro-worker. If,
No.
when the business says, can we please do trading even though we're criminals, you say, yeah, go on then, why not? Like, that's just not pro-worker. You're just pro-business at this point.
Yeah.
You can't claim this. This is ridiculous. What is funny as
rogue
well,
operator.
them bringing up that the Tories oppose these people too, because it reminded me of when Natalie Elphicke went down. She was the MP for Dover and Deal at the time for
She
the Tories
was,
before she
yes.
defected to the Labour Party. Imagine such a thing.
I know.
Imagine like accepting her over to the Labour Party. Oh wait.
Ooh.
She went down to the picket line, the RMT picket line for P&O Ferries while they were being protested for their, criminal activity. And she started saying something about how she supported them, and then the union workers started shouting shame at her because she backed the minimum service levels bill as a Tory because she hates trade unions, because of course she does.
Yeah.
And she started shouting it as well, shame, 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 because she thought they were talking about P&O. No, they were shouting it at you, friend.
The one problem is, of course, is that as a Tory MP, she's incapable of shame.
True. They
So
basically
you
are at this
literally
point.
you are taunting her for a disability, frankly, at that point.
Operator, as she said.
No, that's not the government's position, but I think we've got to make clear that we do not support fire and rehire, but we believe, and we are showing, we can improve the labour.
I can't wait to see how watered down these rules are going to be. Honest to God. It's going to be incredible.
And again, they say they oppose fire and rehire. Well, you don't oppose it enough, clearly, do you?
No.
We're going to outlaw fire and rehire in our workers' rights bill. Okay, and if somebody does it, you're just going to go, oh, well, I guess you've done that.
Yeah.
Not our job to try and tell you whether or not you should be in this country. No, prosecute them. Get them fucking out.
Yep.
I'm sure if there's a big gap in the ferry industry because we've blocked P&O from having the route, I'm sure literally any other ferry company will want to take up that gap in the market that we've created for them, one that isn't a rogue employer. But no, you're so cucked out that you're going to pretend that you're going to take a hard line on this in the run-up to the election, and then it's the slightest pushback from somebody from Saudi Arabia, and immediately you turn tail and run.
Yeah, it's pathetic. Yeah, because as pointed out in chat, can we sue Labour for false advertising? Because they're not a party of Labour at all.
market, improve people's employment rights, at the same time as attracting the kind of investments which we need as a...
So hang on, you've just said clearly it's not the government's position that P&O and DP World are a rogue operator. There was a government press release that said it was a rogue employer that went out in the name of the government. We can show it there. There's a quote. Comments on an official government press release calling them a rogue employer. So, but that's not the government's position.
Look, I'm happy to clarify that. I speak for the government on business issues as the business secretary. We will always make clear what happened was wrong. That's why we're changing the law to make sure it can't happen again.
But hang on,
where
so the
companies
Transport
accept that
Secretary
change.
is not speaking for the government. You are speaking for the government.
Yeah, well, no, why would a Transport Secretary speak on a matter of transportation? That's crazy talk.
It's literally, honestly, it's absolutely incredible. Just another moment where they could have actually done something good for once and been seen to be somebody who had the people on side, and they've literally just shat it through the wall.
Yeah.
They've just incinerated this opportunity completely. Like, one of the biggest problems in democratic politics in the UK at the moment is this idea of there being one rule for them and another rule for us, right?
Yeah.
Like, Partygate was where it kind of started. Giftgate has been another continuation of that, along with all of the stuff that the Tories kind of brought through as well. And one thing that people also feel is kind of morally bereft of this kind of part of politics is the way in which you treat the powerful and the powerless.
Yes.
Not just in political situations, but in economic situations too. And people feel like rogue employers getting away with it. They look at the water bosses looking at them getting away with it and realizing they can literally commit crimes, and all they get is a fine that's built into their profit and loss calculations, and still get a bonus as CEOs at the end of the day, right? So people feel like this is something that is morally unfair. And they could have taken a principled position that would get the public on side here, and they've just not done it. They've not done it. It's just pathetic because they're cucked. It's just cucked.
True. Indeed.
I can tell you what the government's position is. And I can also tell you, by the way, that I work with the transport sector on a whole range of issues integral to getting inward investment into the country. She's part of the team that has produced, and you will see in just a day's time, the scale of investments that can come to the UK because of the different platform
But this is really
provides.
important, because one thing that you've said lots of times in this studio, that Keir Starmer has told the public many times, is that Labour will bring clarity, and they will bring competence, and they will give a clear message at all times, particularly to business. And that here we have, in a matter of days, the Transport Secretary giving one position, the Business Secretary then saying that's not the position, an official piece of government communication going out into public saying another position. It doesn't look very good, does it? It looks messy.
I'm pleased to be able to put what the government's position is. I'm pleased to be able to tell you we are stopping fire and rehire. DP World are coming to the summit. The investment will go ahead. So I think that's
that
what
will go ahead. So they will spend £1 billion in this
will go
country,
ahead.
even though Louise Hay clearly offended them.
It will go ahead. And look, we're a serious government where things like this...
Clearly offended them. Oh no.
Or is DP World triggered? Are DP World triggered by the Transport Secretary accurately describing their actions as an employer? Or indeed Keir Starmer accurately describing their actions, saying what P&O Ferries have done is disgusting? That's a statement that he made personally on the 17th of March 2022.
I feel slightly bad because I think DP World are really getting it from both ends now. And that's a shame.
So we know sometimes little things like this crop up. We'll fix them.
It's not a little thing, is it?
We'll
There's
fix
£1
them.
billion
We'll fix them,
on the
and we
table
have.
here.
And I just think you have to take that step back and say this is a government that is improving people's security in the workplace across the board and attracting the key flagship investments necessary to take the economy forward. That's what it's about.
But when you were in opposition, you used to call for the last government to suspend contracts and licences with this business. So is it just the case that now you're in the government, you need the cash, so you'll do a deal?
No, it's now the case that as we're in government, we can stop what happened to P&O Ferries happening again, and where people can accept that's changing, can work with us, can bring investments. Of course, we'll talk to people wanting to bring money to the country. But at the same time, we don't just want growth. We want growth that every person feels and it benefits their lives. That's why you've got to tackle some of these parts of the employment law framework, which we inherited. That is what we are doing.
They do want everybody to benefit. Both rich people in Britain and rich people in Saudi Arabia are going to benefit as well.
Have you considered that they don't see borders when it comes to rich people?
Exactly.
They are internationalists for rich people, okay? So.
And we're doing it at the same time as those investors still want to come to the UK. That is important. That is how you make an economy work for people in a way it hasn't worked for the previous 14 years.
And would you and your family use P&O Ferries?
I have not had to use a ferry recently. If a company
That's
can
not
accept
what you
the
asked.
employment law...
Yeah, no one's...
Not what you asked.
No one asked about your recent transport history, mate. They said, are you boycotting P&O Ferries? Would you use them? If you had to take a ferry somewhere. You fucking ring piece.
Oh, and apparently, thank you for this link as well. Thank you for this link as well, Ben. On the 23rd of the 3rd, 22, Keir Starmer challenged Boris Johnson to suspend all government business with P&O Ferries and DP World until they reinstate the workforce. None of the 786 crew P&O sacked have been reinstated, and they are going to allow them to continue investing.
Awesome. So he's even sold out from his already sell-out shithouse position anyway.
Yeah, exactly. They apparently were lined up for £50 million of taxpayers' money under the Freeport scheme, which, of course, that's not being getting rid of either. The Freeport
More
special
Tory
economic
shit,
zones.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's all sticking around. That's all sticking around. All that tax dodging bullshit, libertarian wankery. That's not getting scrapped either. So thanks.
Don't you love all the change? I love swimming in the sea of change.
Well, to be fair, he is giving us change, i.e. changes from his positions that he held just 2 years ago.
Yeah, that is true.
But adults are in the room, right?
Adults are in the room. Don't you love it? All the quiet.
This government is about good jobs for people and can do that in a way whilst making a contribution to the UK. I would use that company, yes.
And just to clarify, the press release that we showed was a press release from when you were in opposition, so just to be clear about that.
Yeah, just to be clear, you're shit at your job, and the other quote-unquote journalists in your organisation are shit at their job. That's a very, very, very basic piece of work. that you managed to
Absolutely.
completely cock up. You fucking waster.
But true, but even the most experienced of British journalists could not comprehend the galaxy brain Marxist capitalism of the Starmer government.
True. Bamboozled by the socialism.
Absolutely. Marxism, Starmerism.
You are launching an industrial strategy tomorrow as this investment summit is getting going. But there are big things that have already happened since you've been in power. We know many jobs have been lost at Port Talbot in Wales, where there's a steel plant, and Scotland's last remaining oil refinery, Grangemouth, is going to close. And there are no signs of the government.
True, but have you considered all of the Uber Eats delivery jobs that have been created that no one can
Absolutely.
fucking live on?
Absolutely, because one thing is important to understand about the Workers' Rights Bill is it's only going to apply to people on normal employment contracts.
Yep.
There were originally plans to ensure that the New Deal for working people sorted out the gig economy, which again I believe personally to be the biggest workers' rights fight of this generation.
Yep.
And they took it out to make sure they continue to appeal to the sector, essentially, against the wishes of the trade unions who they were supposed to be consulting on this. It's why one of the many reasons that Unite and GMB walked out of the National Policy Forum meeting over issues with the Workers' Rights Bill.
Yep.
And as far as I'm concerned, this is ideological treason. Now, there are many things which fall into that category that the Labour government have done, but to be named the Labour Party, to be funded by what used to be the majority of the trade unions, but now partially by the trade unions, and to water down your Workers' Rights Bill to explicitly not include the most important part of our economy that diminishes workers' rights, the move towards a casualised workforce and independent contractors. Again, it's ideological treason. It's the only way you can describe it.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Completely. It's leaving the most vulnerable sections of society completely at the mercy of, thieves, ravaging wolves and thieves. Yes. Hello there, Mr. Peter Wood. Mr. Peter Wood. He's called Mr. Peter Wood, so I do the Mr. Peter Bone song for him. It's a thing.
True.
The fact that I've
Yeah.
committed myself to that means that every time they're in here, I'm going to have to do that now. And, yeah. It will annoy everybody, which will fucking delight me, so fine.
Doing anything to stop that happening. Why not?
Well, first of all, on Port Talbot, we have substantially improved that deal by working with the company. We have put more money on the table. We're in a process of looking at getting the business case, because you can't do it in a short space of time, for new investments in Port Talbot, keeping more jobs.
So why aren't you taking action to keep Grangemouth open to save the last oil refinery in Grangemouth, the kinds of jobs that people rely on?
Now, it's a lead from the Energy Department, not from myself. We are working.
Whoa. So why are you able to overrule the Transport Secretary but not Energy? Is it because the Energy Secretary said something based and awesome, whereas the Energy, they're trying to sell out the workers of Grangemouth? So that's fine, I assume.
Because what's frustrating, what's really frustrating about Grangemouth is that in Grangemouth, the workers absolutely are happy for a just transition. They're happy for a transition to net zero. They don't want to be stuck in a dying industry that is polluting and they think is going to impede social progress, right?
Yeah.
But they just want to not be left in the dark like the northern communities were under Margaret Thatcher. All they want is a just transition that provides them continued training and finding them jobs to move to when the plant closes. They just want to have some kind of state investment to protect their livelihoods. And we're doing it all over again.
Yeah.
We're literally doing Thatcher all over again.
Yeah. But don't talk about transition, because we're streeting, we'll might get triggered.
Yeah, have a little bit of a meltdown.
And we had the LGB Alliance already had their thing when they were attacked by terrorist crickets.
Absolutely.
So have some respect, goddammit.
It was the Hamas insect brigade.
True.
The Scottish Government, collaboration for the first time, shows very much the reset in relationships between different parts of the UK on an industrial future for Grangemouth. That could involve public...
Now we're going to collaboratively sell the workers of these places down the river instead of just imposing it from London.
Well,
Thanks.
at least Jonathan Reynolds is admitting that he's a collaborator.
Literally so, yes. I mean, I would say that collaborators get their head shaved, but, I mean, a bit superfluous in this instance.
Investment with the private sector, but the Project Willow, as it's called, is looking at 3 potential usages of Grangemouth going forward. An industrial future, of course, at the minute, you will know it's under commercial ownership, and of course, it's losing a lot of money. That's
but
the
Project
background.
Willow you refer to then wouldn't be ready in time to save the refinery as it stands and to save the jobs that exist right now. So you're promising a big industrial strategy to save, to shake things up, to get the economy working in the way that you want it to. Will you commit to saving existing jobs at Grangemouth?
I can't do that because that is part of the work that is going on with the Scottish Government and this new Labour government. But let's
Yeah,
be clear.
they don't have a plan. They have a concept of a plan.
It's unironically what he's
Yeah. Thanks, lads. Absolutely doing us proud.
Industrial strategy is not just about giving money to firms that are making losses. You know, that's not what it is. It's about attracting the kind of investment we need in the key sectors of the...
Why not? We've been doing that for fucking train franchises for 30 years. Pissing money into them is the only way they can ever make a profit. What difference does this fucking make? If it employs loads of people, I say spend a few fucking quid, you pricks.
economy that make the biggest difference to our growth, to our productivity, to wages and people's prosperity. So I have had already things I inherited, things I didn't know were in that position. I mean, Holland and Wolff is a good example, where the previous government had simply not taken any action. I had to sort that out. That's not always going in there, putting in public money. Sometimes that's the wrong thing to do.
Holland and Wolff, by the way, is the shipyard in Belfast. The Titanic shipyard, so to speak.
It is indeed, yeah.
Which is where Rishi Sunak went to launch his prime ministerial re-election campaign. Genius. Honest to God, that man was a fucking gift. In no real way whatsoever. He was a meme gift.
Got to allow a market solution. So I just want to be clear, it's not about going around the country writing checks, it's about attracting the investment, working with the private sector on the future.
But you did hint there that there could be some public investment for Grangemouth, and it is the worst kept secret in Westminster that your colleague the Chancellor is going to change the way that the debt rules work in order to invest in things, perhaps something like Grangemouth. Is there a chance?
But this is Rachel Reeves, right? She's going to bow to a certain amount of public pressure and do the least possible to avoid, I don't know, being fired tomorrow, I guess. Like it's going to be the most tinkering at the edges changes you can possibly imagine. Don't expect some revolutionary fucking change in the situation at all. She'll borrow an extra £5.
Public money will be used to help keep it open.
Look, the first thing is the Chancellor's already changed the fiscal rules to allow for greater long-term capital investment, to stop that capital budget being raided to pay for revenue spending. That's our first fiscal rule. That's the day-to-day spending rule. Now, we've got new institutions, the National Wealth Fund, for instance, that are there to work with the private sector on some of these long-term investment transformations. But
yeah, you've come up with a new way to filter public money into fucking rich people's pockets. We know. Are you going to do anything to help like actual fucking humans though, or just the lizard people who run the world?
And also, again, look, this is not an answer to the question that he was asked.
Yeah.
The actual question here was, well, if you're going to be changing the second fiscal rule to allow for more overall investment, because, yeah, like that's something that you would be good to do, especially when they're thinking of not only changing the rule to when you have to be having a reduction in the overall deficit or the overall national debt as percentage of GDP.
Yeah.
They're also changing it so that we calculate net debt rather than gross debt. So any debt that you take out that gains assets for the government, that comes off the overall balance sheet, which would be a much better way of describing it, because it means you can never sell something off in the future. Because if you did, the debt would increase because you'd have fewer assets, right? The balance sheet would be worse. So if they make that change, that'd be fine. But they still need to actually do the investments too. And of course, making sure that certain communities don't go under and therefore turn to, I don't know, the far right like they did in other places. You need to make those investments.
True. And if you want to make an investment, chat, not that you'll see any return on it, I guess. So it's not really an investment, it's just giving us money. Anyway.
I mean, the investment that they get is ensuring that we can continue to make content 6 days a week, right?
True. And in your case, that's worthwhile investment. So, yeah. Anyway.
The thing is that, you know, it's worth saying, worth pointing out, is that both of our channels only function because good people like you at home help fund us to continue surviving, right?
Literally
the
true.
Oilers in chat are the only reason, like, if we had to go and get regular ass jobs, but we had to do 35, 40, 45 hours a week, right? We would not be able to put out as much content as we do and keep you entertained.
Literally
So
true.
the fact that all of you have continued to be so generous is exactly why we're both here today, so thank you.
Indeed.
And of course, there are, I think I've got
Stop it.
over almost 350 people watching. Blimey! If you want
That's
to
pretty
gift
badass,
membership
yeah.
arenas on
Yeah, I
YouTube,
saw you
so
were-
either of us,
You were doing
welcome
numbers
to
on the
do so.
YouTube. Yeah, I saw that. That's fucking lovely. Sorry, anyway, I literally just talked over your bit. Apologies.
It's fine. Just give money, but give money blocks.
Oh no, you were going to do a whole thing. Oh, see, I feel bad now. Do bits, messages, subs, memberships, super chats. That was just as eloquent.
Super Chatskis, Patreon.
Super chats. See, now I'm just going to think of her every time I say fucking super chat.
Super chat. Exactly.
Oh God.
Text to speech warning.
True. If you fucking tweet at me, or if you super chat me like a link to a Super Tansky video, I'll fucking end you, okay? In Minecraft. I know my fucking audience are pricks. God damn it.
So we haven't dropped in on her recently. I wonder if she's got anything funny we can react to.
There'll be something. I assume she won't be. What she won't be doing is criticising the current government anymore. Okay. Thank you, SJD for. I'm not even reading out that string of numbers, but thank you for fucking giving me money. I'm just gonna.
Thank
just
you,
gonna go
Monty Spooton, for
SJ.
the gifted Sabarino.
Yeah, thank you, James Holmes, for 5 gifted subs. Much love to you. Yeah. What was I gonna say? I can't remember. Doesn't matter. Death to the West, probably. I imagine.
For Grangemouth, it's about what the future use will be. Clearly, at the minute, where it's at is a difficult position. I'm thinking very much about.
Have you thought about turning it into a bistro? Because it's not going to be a fucking oil refiner anymore, is it? Clearly. Dickheads.
is involved in that, but it's about getting that long-term industrial future for the site.
Like, it really, on a personal, visceral level, it hurts me. The factory my dad worked in when I was a young kid, the Longbridge factory, the Rover car plant, most of it isn't there anymore. It's been knocked down and it's now shops, flats. And I walked past it, and honestly, the rage it fills me with is the kind of rage I think you usually read in a manifesto.
The thing is, what's crazy is that we got rid of all of these things to replace them with shops, and now all the shops are closing because we have to do all this shit online.
Yep. It wasn't worth it. Really wasn't.
At least when factories got turned into like student accommodation, I thought that was a really interesting reuse of the space, right? It was taking a historic building that maybe there was no market for it anymore, and trying to keep the character of the industrial history of the city, but find a new use for it. And nothing better for people who come from outside. Like, for example, there's an old factory building in Nottingham that's been converted into student flats, and people coming to study at the University of Nottingham who don't know anything about the culture of the city or the history of the city could come there and live in an old industrial building whilst they do their studies and learn something about the town that they've decided to call home for the next 3 years. And I think that's interesting. Whereas now we just knock that shit down and replace it with something that's been built by, Barratt Homes or Taylor Wimpey, some shit that's going to fall apart in 20 years.
True. Also, we are not making Tansky rolling into a thing. No, it's not going to be a thing, chat. I swear to God, I will fucking end things. Okay? Things will be ended. I won't say what things. Anyway.
We just heard from John Caldwell, who's a philanthropist, a
$3.
billionaire and businessman who has backed Labour.
In fact,
but he said you need to be very, very careful about some of the things that you do in order that people who want to invest, people who want to make money,
thank you, Lord
don't feel that
Fritos.
the UK is not their home. Are you being careful enough? Will you rule out increasing national insurance payments, increasing for employers, which essentially would make it more expensive for businesses to hire people?
Everyone in government, especially myself and the Chancellor, are focused on that growth mission, that balance that John was talking about. I'm not going to talk about the budget 17 days before it happens. Only the Chancellor is going to be able to do that, but I am
But
hugely
you have
optimistic.
ruled out lots and lots of different tax rises on many times in this studio and
Well,
others.
that's part of our manifesto, and you know that. But we don't write a budget day by day. You've got to wait a little bit of time for that to happen. I can tell you that we are massively optimistic about the future of this country, and actually where you need to get that private investment in, as we're doing this week at the Investment Summit. It isn't just about one budget, it's about the long-term future, the stability of policy. You know, the UK's position has been transformed for investors by the general election because we have political stability, we have an outward-looking government, we have a government committed to...
I'm sorry, this is political stability? This is political stability? I mean, literally, you've already had a fucking resignation from the government. A key one at that. Wow. Just make any old shit. This is political stability. Awesome, cool.
Yeah,
Thanks.
just say we're the adults in the room over and over and over again, and people will just end up believing it if they are incurious dullards, which most lib shits are.
To be fair, probably not a bad strategy then. Yeah.
removing the barriers to investment.
Except
that is attractive.
Except that also many businesses have had real nerves about some of the messages about doom and gloom. I know you'll say that that's being honest with people, but actually consumer confidence, according to some surveys, have fallen. Business confidence, according to some measures, has fallen. You see things like one of the big investors in Sainsbury's pulling out £300 million of their stake, and the business saying that people are actually spending less because they're worried about what they've heard from you.
The reality is, and I think being open about this is right, you walk into government, you find things far worse than you realised. There were key things that hadn't been funded. I mean, the public sector pay bodies just hidden in a drawer, you know, pretending that wasn't a thing a government has to deal with. Of course, when you're in that position, people are going to go, okay, this is worse than we thought it was going to be, a little bit perhaps worried about that. It's the budget and the spending review where we can put that long-term future in place. But look, I could also tell you about the £8 billion of investment already announced from Amazon Web Services, the $10 billion from Blackstone into data centres.
You know, you should tell Amazon, though, you're going to pay this amount of tax, and if you don't, you have to leave.
Very true.
Particularly in the northeast, that failed British Vault site, now up and going to have that investment coming forward. So when you see the scale of what we're able to announce next week, when you look at how we can do that, whilst making sure that's going to be growth that benefits for everyone, when we can say, of course, that optimistic future is going to be built on responsibility with the public finances, long-term investment, but also through that industrial strategy, working with business on the long-term changes necessary to make sure we're competitive in the most important sectors. I am really excited for the future, and I think people will be too.
Okay, well, we'll watch with interest what happens this week and how many big cheques you get business to write. Jonathan Reynolds, Business Secretary, thank you very much indeed for being with us this morning. Good to have you as ever. Well, what did you think of what he had to say?
Yeah, he was an absolute twat.
That is exactly the searing political analysis that all of you pay your Twitch subscriptions for.
Well, exactly, yeah, but there's no need. When it's that fucking soporific, when it's that devoid of any actual content, what can you say other than this guy's an absolute fucking shit muncher? Like he's a pointless human being, and they've got this investment thing, and I'm sure they'll get some investment, but the thing is, when they're not in part of government, they don't have to like toe the party line. So you're going to have these investors talking mad shit about the British government. So I'm here for it. Fuck it, let them, embarrass them, because they are pricks.
Say you can let us know, of course. Email us kunsberg@bbc.co.uk, or a new innovation that we have. You can send us a WhatsApp on 08000.
She said that like the most boomer thing ever. You can send us a WhatsApp.
Yeah, that was a weird enunciation that she used there. Weird emphasis.
Because she doesn't know she doesn't know what that is. She doesn't fundamentally understand what the thing is. So it's like when people used to say, you can send us an electronic mail. Like, you don't know what that is. It's fine. You're just old. It's fine.
282161. I'm sure I'll get used to reading out that long number. It's 08000 282 161. And of course, there's a lot.
Oh my God. She's old, but not that old. Because people on TV used to do that all the time. Because there used to be a thing called telephones. And what you would do is you'd type in an 11-digit number, and you had to either remember it or have it written down on paper, and then you could get through and speak to somebody.
Yeah, you know why your contact book in your phone has, or your contact list, sorry, why the image of that is a book
Yeah.
is because we used to have those things. We used to have books full of numbers and addresses
with paper on them. It's paper, and then there was like ink printed onto them, or
Yeah.
you had to write it in physically yourself. Yeah, with a pen.
Also, a good point, Steve. If we emailed if we emailed Laura Koonsberg, how do we know that she won't accidentally send it to Boris Johnson?
True. Accidentally being the word that's totally incorrect in that sentence, but yes. Because she did it on purpose. She's not a journalist.
What's happening on the BBC Live page. You can see the address there. And you know that we'll try and share some of the conversation that you're sending us in later in the show or in our newsletter later in the week. Well, are the government's plans for business realistic 100 days in? Are the plans that Jonathan Reynolds was talking about, do they really add up?
Let's talk to a capitalist wanker!
Yeah. Can we
Are they
this is a weird request. Can we watch it in 1.1 times speed, just so I can get through this cunt quickly?
1.1 is a very specific one. We're gonna have to custom.
I know there are some people who don't like it being too quick, and for some people even 1.25 is quick. But I think most people won't notice if it's 1.1.
True.
Incredible. Well, the boss of the biggest bank in the country, Lloyd's, the chief executive, Charlie Nunn, is here. Welcome to you.
The enemy.
Well, indeed. And I like the fact that we've gone 1.1 to get through it quicker. It'll still take us 3 hours because we stop every 5 seconds anyway.
Too about making the sums add up. So let's see what you think of what's going on right now. Now, you're a part of the government's investment summit this week, but you have contact with millions of customers and businesses every single week. What do you think is going on in the economy in brass tacks? Because people have had a rough time. How does it look to you now?
Yes, good morning, Laura. As you say, we support 27 million customers, 1 in 5 businesses, so we have a unique lens. The last few years has been difficult. The cost of living that we've seen, increases in energy prices, increases in mortgage prices.
Lloyd's, how much money did they get publicly? What was their bailout during the banking crisis?
Were Lloyd's part of the bailout?
I think they were. I seem to recall Lloyd's as Lloyd's TSB back then. I think so.
I thought the majority of the bailout was us buying RBS.
Virtually all of the banks got something, I believe. But yeah.
Lloyd's bailout 2008.
I could be wrong. But it's always a question worth asking.
20.3 billion.
There you go. And
that was at time of recording.
It'd be interesting to find out. Do a public freedom of information request, and try and find out how much, if any, of that they paid back, or whether it was underwritten and basically the check was picked up by old fucking Muggins here, the taxpayer.
So in 2017, the bank bailout was repaid in full, says Philip Hammond. Taxpayers have recovered every penny of the 20.3 billion pound of the 2008 bailout of 43%. But what's frustrating is that it's super tilting to me that it's clear that these banks were incredibly profitable and they bailed them out at the cost of tens of billions of pounds or whatever it is.
Yeah.
And then they just had all of these shares that were worth loads of money and getting them dividends. They just fucking sold them for no reason. We should have kept hold of that shit. It was the perfect excuse to be able to just nationalise huge swathes of the most parasitic industry in the country. And we're just like, yeah, well, we've paid off the debt that we had to give you to stop the country collapsing because of the stupid bets that you made. Here's your shares back. Here's your shares.
And no change in the law, which means we're just gonna have the same fucking thing in 5 years, 10 years. All the time. Boom and bust is back, baby. Not that it ever really went away, but anyway. Oh, hang on, what the fuck? Why do I have 500 people on Twitch? Is that broken? Oh no, I'm being raided from somewhere. Someone big has soft raided me, I think. Are you Vosh people again? Vosh does this. He doesn't raid on Twitch. Doesn't stream on Twitch. So he does like a soft raid where he says, "Go and follow this go and watch this person."
Yeah, it says on my end that you've got 599 viewers.
Yeah, which was about 540 more than I had a second ago. It is a Vosh raid. Well, hello there, horse fans. How are we? That is a joke. I'm playing. I'm being playful. I'm Kevin Logan, a socialist from the UK.
Porsche's house needs to be hard rated.
Literally. Literally.
Sorry, that was a chatter.
Anyway, please don't run away because of that joke. You can hit the follow button. I'm Kevin Logan, a socialist from the United Kingdom. We do exist. I know you probably don't like Britbongers, and that's absolutely fine. I hate them far more than you, because I have to live around the pricks. Trust me. We're watching currently a fucking banker, literally a banker, talking about economics. It's going to be absolutely awful. Please stick around. You should hit the follow button, firstly and foremostly. And secondly, you should go over to my co-hostess with the co-mostess, No Justice MTG, and follow her as well.
You should indeed do that. You should follow me for more socialist politics.
Indeed. If someone wants to put the link to No Justice's thing in the chat. We bully Vosh for liking horses all the time. It's fine. Yeah, exactly. It is... okay. I didn't want to get into this, but, like, when he says horse dick, does he mean dicks like the size of horses' dicks? Or literally horses' dicks?
Or what about dicks that look like horses? So, like people, but with horses for dicks. Because that would technically be a horse dick as well.
Yeah. But with, like, hooves.
Yeah.
Do you get your horse dick shoed? That has a different reference with shoe on it. That's not what I meant. I meant like a horseshoe. Sorry. I didn't mean it like that. I promise you I didn't mean it like that. Pringles tubes, yeah. Like a fucking rolling pin. Absolutely. Anyway, let's do this.
Prices. And so there are many parts of the economy that have been really struggling and are continuing to struggle.
Only false.
But actually 2024 has been the turn that we've seen in terms of most people in the country feeling more financially secure. So there's more savings in deposit accounts, there's less people struggling with loans, and actually business confidence is at a 9-year high.
Is the cost of living crisis over, though? We know lots of our viewers have been very upset about the government's idea to take away winter fuel allowance, for example, and there are still people having a hard time. Is it over?
For most people, it's got a lot better. There are definitely some, and we would normally look at about 20% of people in the country who are on the lowest incomes or have the least wealth in the country that are really still struggling to make ends meet, dealing with those difficult choices, dealing with higher mortgage payments. But for most people, you can see the economy is resilient and has an opportunity for a positive outlook.
With this big summit coming and the budget coming, it is very clear that the Chancellor is going to move around the rules about government debt and borrowing in order to free up some cash. But the debt for the country is so high, the national debt is absolutely sky high. How careful does the government need to be?
Well, we do think
also, what's going to be
investment
interesting,
in
what's
the
going to be
UK
super interesting, is that you know how she was pressing Jonathan Reynolds really hard as a politician about things he's said and done in the past, right?
Yeah.
Now they get a wanker banker on, literally, as I said, the enemy, the people who fucking destroyed the economy in 2008. Is she just going to be like, oh, well, you're an expert technocrat, I don't just scrutinise you at all. Can you please, Mr. Oracle, please regale me the tales of how much the economy needs to be lightly twinged to be in your very specific favour? Oh yes, that's very smart. Well, thank you very much, Mr. Banker, for being a completely objective analysis of the economy.
Of the economy, yeah, exactly. Like they're not, of course, the most biased, self-interested, greedy little shits.
Exactly.
But no, there's no need to analyse that, because again, there is a correct opinion, which is that capitalism is fucking awesome in every way. And then there's extremism. And so the underlying premise that all of the Westminster cunts believe in, including Laura Kuenssberg and all of her friends, is that this guy represents positive, forward-thinking Britain. So why question him? Why question him?
See, this guy can't have any ulterior motives or impure opinions or material incentives. No. He's just an innocent, small, mean banker.
He is. He's a small boy, a little chubby small boy.
A small boy.
Ginger as well.
Is fundamental, and it's fundamental obviously for the future growth of the economy, for jobs and productivity, but also for overseas investors and for the financial services sector to want to invest. We need to see a clear investment programme in the UK. What does that mean? We need real clarity and purpose around the government's plans. We need discipline around in-year spending. So we need to be really clear around what we can afford in-year and what we're investing in. And we need to see an investment programme from the government.
Literally, we need discipline on in-year spending. Okay, so you mean you want austerity? Okay, that's what that means. Fiscal discipline, That is just a buzzword meaning austerity, by the way.
Yeah, which basically means fucking the poor. We need the government to show that they're committed to fucking the poor, and then we might invest a few things. We might invest some money, but mainly in just sort of gambling with the future of the entire world.
Ladies and gentlemen,
And what we won't do is put up with any of this green nonsense. None of that, please.
Ooh, disgusting.
Yeah. Ginger, Kev bullying a minority. I'm allowed to. I've got a ginger beard, so I'm allowed to mock the gingers. That is, well, actually everyone is, because they're not really people.
ladies and gentlemen, we got victory is ours.
Anyone who's now still following me after I just said that, it's on you, okay?
Yeah, it's all gone downhill, hasn't it?
True.
That really crowds in or brings in private investment alongside it.
And you want that to happen, and they want that to happen, but you say there also has to be discipline. So how careful do they have to be? Because you can see the sort of consensus among many, you know, very well-respected sort of economic commentators is actually, yes, it's fine if she changes the rules.
Yeah, but the well-respected economic commentators who are shit and don't ever see the inevitable capitalist crunch coming, ever. Fucking idiots. Mostly complete fucking morons. Self-interested, pro-uber-capitalist libertarian shitheads. That's what they are. And again, she treats them as, like, just knowledgeable experts in the field. It's not science. It's wankers.
In order to invest, but how carefully do you think the government needs to proceed on this front?
Yeah, they need to be careful. So they need to show discipline around the in-year spending. They need to make sure the government can balance the books. But let's be clear, people...
By taxing you, yeah? Because that's how we could balance the books. If we tax
it's
rich
true,
pricks like
true.
you, then actually we could just spend whatever the fuck we like. Because we've got loads of... We're literally the 6th richest country on earth, and we've got booming fucking food bank usage. Literal Victorian-era starvation. So what we could do,
exactly what we have, yeah.
balance the books, tax rich cons like you. Or do you
Also,
mean
thank you.
the 4 people who still get some kind of benefits need to be screwed?
Yeah, I mean, turns out it looks like they're trying to find like a £2 billion saving on disability benefits.
It's been like
because they're
cut in
fucking
half. You ghouls. Literally, they're not going to be happy until there is no social safety net whatsoever. They're not going to be happy until literally no
But
one
Harriet
gets a
Harman
penny.
said they'd lost the argument on benefits.
Well, Harriet Harman can get in the fucking trebuchet.
True, she can indeed.
Which I
In
should
Minecraft.
explain in Minecraft, of course. I should explain for the new people. I do a joke where I suggest that we use the threat of being trebucheted, which is... Trebuchet is like a big catapult thing, but with a counterweight. It's different to a catapult. Don't fucking start! Anyway.
Yeah, it's not a mangonel, it's not any of these things.
Exactly.
It's very specific one kind of
Exactly.
rock launching device.
Exactly. But we transform it to fit people, and then if, like, a banker says something dumb, you say, do you want to reconsider that? Because the trebuchet's right there. And then they go, actually, you know what, fair enough, I will pay my taxes. That's, you know what I mean? Like, it's the stick in the carrot and stick approach of life.
People aren't going to invest in the UK if we don't have a clear plan for growth and productivity and jobs. And that is going to take investment in things like the energy transition, in housing, and in skills and capabilities. So we need to have clarity around where we're going to invest and what the returns will be, and to make it better for people to get a return on those investments.
And have you got the clarity yet, do you think?
I think it's emerging. So what we've seen in the first 100 days...
Again, what I would say is, the investment is you not being in the trebuchet, and the net outcome of it being you don't get flung into the sea. That's the return on investment you get there. Is in Minecraft, you won't be obliterated upon impact on the ocean. So, but in Minecraft, so it's fine.
Also, thank you, Jack Miller, for the $9.99. Unfortunately, can't read out your comment for those kind of reasons because it's Minecraft. But I appreciate the donation.
Yeah, fair enough.
The government is real consistency with the mandate that they set up before they came into government. And we're seeing real focus on things like the energy transition, on housing, and then on some of the key sectors in the UK that can really lead us into a more growth-oriented economy.
It's clear that some taxes are going to go up, and possibly capital gains, which is paid when people sell assets like, you know, property that they have beyond their home or...
What is my Twitch channel? My Twitch channel is KFLogan1875. Can someone post my thingamajig in the YouTube, please?
Do it. Actually, I'll post that myself. I literally have your channel open because I was reading your chat. Because I was trying to check. You said I've got loads of people on my stream. I was like, I'm just going to check if that's legitimate, and it was. But I'm going to post Kev's Twitch in my YouTube.
If
chat.
that's legitimate, what? Check if I was view botting.
Or some of them, if you've been like hate raid or something.
Oh well, Vosh could be hate raiding me, but just very ineffectively.
Yeah, because there's becoming people coming.
Because I've had like 20, I've had like fucking 50 people or something follow me, so it's fine, you know. I had so many people follow.
50 follows is pretty good.
I turned off the fucking alert box because it was annoying me. Listening to
Well,
fucking Yankee Tanky go, got him! Victory is ours!
It is ours. I can't believe that you just fucking still. Oh, I love that quote. But like,
he's my favourite mentalist of all time.
He's
Honestly,
so funny.
when he
He's really
started
funny.
singing "Angloid, you're a fucking Angloid" at me during our debate, honestly,
you debated him, didn't you?
I did debate him, yeah, and he started singing "Angloid, you're a fucking Angloid." I just thought
it's true, and it's a constant source of shame.
Yeah, this is the peak of my existence. I will never be
Absolutely.
happier than this moment.
Absolutely, it's like the infrared two holes moment. It's seminal.
Oh, so I've debated that cunt as well. Fuck me, I just lunatic.
You debated infrared? When was that?
I've debated infrared a couple of times. Right, we debated once about something and it got a bit spicy, and then I used to go into his chat and just type "you're an ugly prick" at him for ages. Just because it was funny, and people kept like giving me gift subs to his channel and stuff. Anyway, so we ended up debating again, and I was taking the piss out of him because the reason he first grew his big beard was because he had quite sensitive skin on his face. So when he was shaving, it would irritate him, and I used to take the piss out of him for that as well. Now I think it's fine. I think that's fine because he's like one of the most ableist people ever. So like I don't care. I will absolutely rip into him. He deserves every fucking bit of it. And so one of my favourite comebacks ever was that when he was going on about like, don't you feel like it's rude to say all of these things to me? And I said, in a communist revolutionary situation, do you think there might be some things for which you would need to grow both a figurative and literal thicker skin? And honestly, he got the maddest I've ever seen him. It was very funny.
Oh my god, that's so good. That's too good.
Anyway,
my favorite, sorry to completely sidetrack. It's more interesting than this fucking Lloyd's TSB cunt. Is that my favorite infrared debate moment is when he debated Chud Logic, and Chud Logic just wouldn't take the bait at all. Infra got so angry, got so absolutely furious during the debate because Chud Logic was just kind of not taking any of him seriously.
Yeah.
It was really, really good. He wouldn't take the bait, trying to get. I mean, that's what Infrared does. He tries to get people angry at him by being insulting, whatever. And Chud was like, I'm not having any of it because Chud doesn't care. Of course, doesn't care anything.
Yeah.
It was very funny.
Who's this person who has an emote of me? Igloo BC has an emote. I didn't know someone else had an emote. Igloo B Despair, and it's me. Look with a weird look on my face.
And then rain coming down.
Yeah, don't get that at all, but thank you. Also, thank you for the Raid Areno, James from the internet. It's Raid City up in this bitch.
Yeah, Raid Central, absolutely. If you don't follow James, I'm gonna come down there and haunt you in your dreams.
True. And if you don't follow me, you can rectify that by hitting the follow button. It's free, and it will make you 5% sexier, guaranteed, as a minimum. And also, you can go and follow No Justice MTG. She's the co-host.
You can do it if you really want. If you're desperate, for extra content.
No, she does really good content. Look, legitimately, actually good content. Like I do, fun and hopefully somewhat entertaining slop. She does actual content.
Educational content too.
I do some bits and bobs, but I mainly call fascists a bunch of cunts on the internet. Like that's what I do. That's what I'm about.
It's very important work that you do.
Yeah, I would hope so.
Well, again, because when it comes to our specialism, of course, there's you and your
history.
Your very history, exactly. You know all of your history, and you watch a lot of history videos and just have your chill streams where you guys get educated. Whereas me, it's more me just like economics is my thing.
You are unbelievably nerdy, yes.
I'm a fucking
we literally
nerd.
we had a discussion the other day, didn't we, about your favourite economist? And I just thought the fact that you have that as a category that exists. I'm going to turn the alert box off again. We were raided by Vosh earlier as well, so like I'm just turning it off because Yankee Tanky again is a very funny man to listen to, but it's the same sentence over and over again. Very, very bad. Although he's not I don't think he's a tanky anymore, is he? Isn't he just like a red-brown guy or something? I forget.
Who even knows anymore?
I don't think he does, in all honesty. Although I am genuinely glad that he doesn't live behind the 7-Eleven in a fucking alleyway anymore.
I mean, that's good to know that he's on the up.
Yeah, he's got he's housed, because everyone should get housed.
True.
Come the revolution.
Housing first.
Come the revolution, even bad people get the wall. In fact, they get 4 walls and a roof.
And a roof.
Fact.
Or shares.
Also, thank you, Sugar Horse, for typing out Hawk Tour on your bussy with interspersed Nigel Farage and Palestine flags, apparently.
True. But, yeah, exactly. I genuinely will never, ever forget him saying, "Bussy be so talented, it's doing cartwheels." He's a member of Parliament now. He's technically...
Mo Lester.
Mo Lester. Jesus.
Oh, no, we have to watch it again. We have to watch it again.
If you've got a link, I'm more than happy to do it. Yeah.
Oh my god, it's too funny. It's too funny. Like, this is our these are. I mean, if you think that Marjorie Taylor Greene is bad, Americans.
Nigel Farage is amazing. Nigel Farage, right, has literally praised a designated terrorist group here in the UK called the Irish Republican Army. He bigged them up. He also wished happy birthday to Jerry Adams, who is a man who was formerly a part of that organisation, allegedly, as well as various other things, including racial slurs, and an amazing number of Fortnite / sus memes, sussy backer memes and stuff. He's a special man. And now, technically, you can refer to him as the Honourable Nigel Farage, because he's a member of His Majesty's Parliament. Literally.
Oh my god. Fucking end me.
Yeah.
I can't find this bloody thing. I need to find. It's too funny for me not to find it, and the joke will have disappeared by the time, but stopped being relevant.
Was the joke ever really relevant / not relevant? I don't know. To be fair, so does Biden behind the scenes. Of what? What does that mean? What? Biden's funny in front of the scenes. Because he just says mad shit all the time. Did you hear him say he was going to do 9/11?
What? I mean, it's clearly because Drake wants to see him do 9/11. So
literally, but no, on 9/11, he obviously meant I'm going to go and do a 9/11 event, like a commemoration event. Yeah. But because in his head he's like the words aren't there. He just said to the journalists, "I'm going to do 9/11, and then I'm going to go and have the meeting with such and such." So he was just like, "I'm going to do 9/11."
Yeah, I'll pop up the link in chat.
Imagine if he'd stayed the candidate. Just imagine that for a second. If this decrepit old fuck whose brain has completely disintegrated had still been the candidate, we'd all have to be sitting there pretending like, "Oh, he's good for another 4. Yeah, it's all good."
Not to name names, my rear end, but some people are trying to tell us, no, we shouldn't get rid of the candidate. Shouldn't we get rid of the candidate?
Don't be rude. I mean, yes, but don't be rude.
Like, honestly, I love you, my rear end, but we were getting so mad as when we were saying that the candidate.
This is you're being ableist. No, he can't think. I'm sorry. It doesn't work. Like, I'm not saying we should fucking send him to Switzerland, although I'm not saying that either. But I wasn't saying that at the time. I'm just saying, like, he clearly isn't going to be okay in 4 years, because he's not going to be okay this afternoon until he's had a nap. Like,
True.
This is not an acceptable situation for a man who's the most powerful politician on earth.
Yeah, literally.
I think we can do better than this. Anyway. I'll deal with the sounds in a second. We're watching Nigel Farage.
Sigma spider climbed up the skibbity spout, and that spider is you, Top Sigma James. Yes, it is. This is Nigel Farage wishing you a big chungus congratulations for being the top G skibbity alpha male. We all promise to hawk tour on your bussy as it claps. And this message, James, is sponsored by Sam, Matthew, Finn, and Mo Lester. Guys, you sound like a great group.
Mo Lister. Fucking hell. That's only the bit. There are some great on. We won't watch them because it's like it's not really relevant to anything. But there are some great compilations of his like shit out there. His cameo nonsense, and it's just like 20 minutes of him going like, "Skibbity Riz, Skibbity Riz, Bossy be so talented," blah blah blah. Just doing the same. Like it's relentless. The big chungus, the sussy backer. Oh God, just for ages and ages.
He's got so many of them.
Yeah, and he gets his money. He doesn't give a fuck. Hawk tour on your bussy as it claps. I hope he does it in Parliament. Is there an extra level on his thing that you can like? He has to record it in Parliament. Because I want that to be in Hansard. That sentence needs to exist forever.
Well, luckily, an Australian politician beat him to the punch. I don't know if you've seen this.
I saw the one you told me about, the Skibbity Riz no cap woman.
Oh yeah, Fatima Payman. Yeah. That's the one I was mentioning. Yeah. Like, so that's in Australian Hansard.
Yeah, but that's like saying it's not really Australian Hansard. Is a silly thing in a silly place done by silly people. Do you know what I mean? Like it's Australian.
They write it upside down apparently.
They do write it upside down, and when they flush it down the toilet, it goes the other way. Fact.
Ladies and gentlemen,
thank you to. We're on a hype train, everyone. If we get to level 3 of the hype train, I will finger the bussy upon which Nigel Farage's hawk toured whilst it clapped.
A sentence that I definitely expected to hear today.
Yeah, well, it's this. Well, look, does anyone really expect the clap? No, not the clap. That sounded like a fucking threat. Like weird. Anyway, thank you, T- 2011 for resubscribing. Thank you, T- for gifting a sub. Thank you, Quiet 185. Thank you, T- again for gifting another sub. And thank you, Wayward Historian, for gifting a sub to Alex Roivas, who is also awesome. If we get to level 3 of the hype train, we'll do that. I just got back from Moscow, having done another fingering raid on Stalin's corpse, which I think I promised a couple of weeks ago. Honestly, so it's surprisingly easy to break into the Kremlin.
I mean, when's Alex Salmond up for your necrophiliac adventures?
Well, when he's buried. There's no fun if he's not buried. It's not really grave robbing if there isn't a grave. Jesus Christ. Another sentence we definitely expected to hear tonight. So I'm so glad my parents can't operate computers. Honest to God.
Partner push 2024.
Never happening. Thank you, Quite One, for gifting a sub to Ali. Much love to you. Anyway, oh God, what's worse, grave robbing or being a banker?
I mean, being a banker, obviously.
Yeah, grave robbing is an honest profession, and technically, in terms of living creatures, a victimless crime. When you think about it.
It might even hit 39%. I mean, what would the implications of that be, do you think?
So obviously that'll be a matter for the Chancellor and the budget in terms of tax policy. I think what we see in terms of encouraging this investment, one of the unlocks is around pensions in the UK and pensions overseas. Again, we support actually about £200 billion worth of British pensioners' money, and we need to make sure that we can invest that in a way which is good for the economy and good for pensioners long term. So anything that helps people continue to invest and take appropriate...
Yeah, but to be fair, those pensioners are about to freeze to death. So, like, invest it quickly, I guess.
Pension's cheaper then. Pensions bill cheaper.
Yeah, that is true.
Risk we think is really important. Anything that does the opposite would be a handbrake on the economy.
So you'd be worried then about tighter rules about pension or reducing the amount that people can put into their pensions?
Yeah, I think actually pensions and contributions to pensions is critical. We see about 40% of people in the UK have a pension which won't give them even a basic living allowance when they retire. So we need to increase enrolment and investments in pensions.
Also, we need to massively increase the amount that both government and employers put towards that.
True.
Massively.
True, we absolutely do.
Yeah.
Remember when we changed from defined benefit to defined contribution schemes? That was shit, wasn't it?
It was massively shit, yes. Or indeed getting rid of, like, final salary or whatever. Lots of things.
Yeah.
Lots of things that have been done
Yeah, 'cause I
to fuck
literally,
over
like,
fuck over poor and young people.
But my parents have final salary pensions, so they essentially get more money the longer that they live, whereas us fuckers with defined contribution schemes end up, the longer we live, the worse it is.
Yeah. To be honest with you, my financial situation is so bad that I honestly, my retirement plan is to be hit by a bus. I think that's the only way.
Societal collapse.
Yeah, that's also a thing that could be a thing. Yeah. Anywho, you can tell.
Wait a minute. Why is this? Who the hell has done the emote in chat? Somebody's put Vorsh into a Red Army uniform and put rain over the top of it.
Yeah, Brett Eng has done that on my end as well. Yeah. Reservoir apparently has the Resiv horse is the emote. Okay, it's an interesting one.
And I thought it was just us that had other streamers as our emotes, and apparently everyone does it.
Apparently everyone does. Hello there, fact-based comrade. Hit the fucking follow button. I'm not asking nicely. I've literally worked out. If you say hit the follow button, they generally do. If you say it'd be nice if you hit the follow button, it's free, it's fine. You do the nice thing, they don't fucking bother. So I just treat 'em mean, keep 'em keen. That's the rule. Thank you everyone for the hype train. Successful hype train, sexy hype train.
Absolutely. Well, I guess you're off to do some ring later.
Yeah. I've got to go and find Mo Lester and his mates.
Hawk tour on their bussy.
No, I'm fingering the bussy. Nigel Farage is hawk touring whilst it claps, and I will finger.
Ladies and gentlemen,
that is the order.
We got
yeah.
Victory is
Isn't it fair, though, that people at the very top end contribute a little bit more given the state of the economy now? I mean, a lot of people get paid a lot of money. I mean, you, for example, you get paid more than £3 million. Isn't it fair that people at the top
Trebuchet
have to cough up a bit more to bail the country out?
So again, I think tax decisions and tax policy is very much a matter for the government. I'm personally very happy to pay the taxes that we do, but of course, what I'm really...
Okay, but you should pay all of the fucking tax, you little cunt.
Also, like, bullshit. I believe that that's not true, actually. I don't think he does like paying the taxes that we should be paying. I think that he would rather he was paying little or no tax, actually.
Indeed. Why is it that your company consistently works with tax avoidance, not tax dodging? Technically, it's not illegal. It's tax avoidance, accountants and lawyers.
He doesn't avoid tax, he just evades it. No, that's the wrong way around. Oh, forget it.
Focused on is how do we move the economy forward and get the growth going across the whole economy, and that's where leveraging pension funds, making sure overseas and domestic investment is working, and we have a clear plan to crowd in more private investment is really important. The estimates on the level of investment we're talking about for the future of the economy is kind of 40 to 50 billion pounds per year for the next 20 years.
50, that's a huge chunk of change.
It's a huge chunk of change. So the government won't be able to do that by them.
Aren't we like a £1 trillion economy?
Yes.
So 50 billion is not a big chunk of change, actually. If only we had a political class that didn't dream as small as possible.
Themselves. But there are trillions of pounds of investment. In fact, my own institution has a £900 billion balance sheet, and we lend 80 to 100 billion pounds a year to the UK economy. If we can get the incentives right and crowd in private investment and pension funds, this is not impossible at all. And the UK really is a destination for investors to want to put money to work.
But for people watching at home now, there are things that affect their daily lives, beyond those talk of trillions and hundreds of billions. And what a lot of people are focused on is what's going on with interest rates and their own mortgage rates. Now, mortgage rates have started to tick up a little bit again. Is the era of the cheap deal, has that just gone? Is it never coming back?
Yeah, so as you say, first of all, the increase in mortgage rates in the last few years has been...
The only reason I have a mortgage is because they lent very irresponsibly. Like, I got in just before they stopped doing all that shit. Like, yeah, that's why I'm where I'm at. Just bobbing my head above the waters of insolvency.
The real question here is that why, if mortgage rates are going up, why aren't savings rates going up as well? Banks have specifically had a massive windfall because of the increase in the base rate.
Yep.
That's allowed them to push up mortgage rates. And they're then not passing that on to savers as well. I mean, ideally, we should just tax them. People who already have lots of money, I think you should get a reasonable savings rate. Right? I think that's fine. But really, the people who have all of the money that are saving shouldn't really be the ones who are beneficiaries of more free money if you have lots of money to be able to make interest on it. We could be taxing the additional revenue of those banks. We should be imposing a levy on the additional money they make from mortgage increases, but their profits, and that could go back into the exchequer to be able to spend for day-to-day spending. We could do that.
We could.
We are not doing that, and they are also not passing it on to savers either.
Literally so. Thank you to Andreas with a super chat who says, happy Sunday. Happy Sunday to you, Andreas. Much love. Do a little heart for you.
Been really challenging. The thing to have in balance around that is only about 40% of properties have a mortgage in the UK, and the average salary and household income of a mortgage family is £75,000. So although it's been very challenging, many of those families have been able to absorb it. Mortgage arrears, people struggling with their mortgage, has actually been declining again since December.
But are cheap deals going to come back ever, do you think?
So in terms of the cost of mortgages, we've seen them come down this year relative to the highs of last year.
The fact that he doesn't want to answer, it means the answer is no. It's never happening. No.
Were very difficult for people. We do think they're going to continue to come down, but getting back to the level we saw in the last decade where interest rates were down at zero, I think is unlikely.
Just finally, I want to ask you about another issue, which is another sort of modern phenomenon that banks have to deal with, the huge costs of online.
So at no point is she going to go, why? Why can't you do that? Why can't you eat slightly into your profit margin, you pieces of shit? Like they don't have any responsibility to the country whatsoever. That's literally an opinion that these capitalist fucking ghouls have. That they owe nothing to the society which gives them the profits that they make. Or that they steal, I suppose, technically. They drain that resource from the country and owe nothing back in return. And that needs to fucking stop. If we're ever to make any kind of progress to... Well, even just fucking tread water. Just stay as shit as we currently are and not get worse. Otherwise, it's just managed decline all the way down.
True.
Fraud and scams. So many of our audience have been hit by all sorts of things. Now, the banks have to pay a lot to compensate people who get caught up in it. But do you think the tech companies are pulling
Also,
their
that's a
weight
good point
on
in
this
chat too. That obviously we used to own 43% of Lloyd's.
Yep.
£900 billion balance sheet. That sounds like something that we could have had at least something.
Yeah, it sounds like that could have been our money. I get the feeling that capitalists don't really believe in capitalism. What they believe in is socialism for themselves, and everyone else can go fuck off and die.
True.
I've said this before. If there's one group of people that don't understand capitalism very well, it's capitalists. And if there's one group of people who hate a free market, it's capitalists.
Yeah.
Where a lot of these scams proliferate, whether it's dodgy deals on your that you pop up on your phone. Do you think they're doing enough?
No, we don't, Laura. So as you say, fraud is 40% of all individual crime in the UK. It's really harrowing. I listen into calls and hear what people are going through when they experience fraud, and we need to do more to protect customers, not just compensate them.
What do you think about the fraud that's done by banks all the fucking time?
Yeah.
Got any words about that? Is that harrowing? Do you listen in on those calls that don't happen because the police never go after white-collar criminals? No? Okay.
We need to protect them. And 80% of financial fraud in the UK is occurring through the big tech companies. Almost 70% through one company, Meta, Facebook, through its Facebook Marketplace, the Facebook platform and the Instagram platform. And
getting zucked.
They're the ones that are enabling customers to be contacted by fraudsters and to be able to be messaged so that they are encouraged to send payments which aren't safe. So we really are asking for the tech companies specifically to do more to work with us to protect people.
Okay, well, they say they're working with the banks, but that's interesting, very clear message from you that the online companies need to pull their socks up. Well, Charlie and Anne, thank you very much
yes,
indeed
I'm
for
glad
joining
that
us.
she
It's great to
scrutinised
have
this
the
man.
chief.
Yeah, literally just
lots of scrutiny.
Absolutely unquestioned that everything he said there was true and that there's no ulterior motive. It's honestly like a toddler. She's got the brain of a fucking toddler.
Yeah.
Executive Lawyers with us in the studio this morning. Well, let's see what our panel have to say all about all of that. We've been talking about whether the government has really got the right ideas to get the economy going. John, let's come straight to you. What did you make of what Jonathan Reynolds had to say?
I thought he was absolutely right in everything that he said.
Really? A multi-millionaire philanthropist thinks that the banker is correct about everything. Well, I am shocked.
It is an absolute turnout for the books, isn't it?
I mean, sorry, I didn't hear what you said there over the manufacturing consent machine going burr very fucking loudly.
Yeah, exactly. It was difficult to know which sound was louder there, the manufacturing consent machine or the billionaire dick-sucking machine.
That is also true. And they're both very, very noisy machines.
It's all about growing Britain's GDP. If we grow Britain's GDP, we grow revenue for the economy, and we're able to improve all the social services for all of those people that need it. And let's face it, the health service is in a mess, the social...
Adric, I love that as a response. So, Adric says in my chat, and it's so typical of my chat, "Oh shit, thank you whoever gave me a sub. I got distracted smoking weed." Thank you. I appreciate that enormously. Thank you, Andreas, again with $5. He says, "Hey Kev, just curious, how filthy is the River Thames? Are they ever going to clean it up?" It's so filthy that I wouldn't ever want to be within 100 metres of it, although I have been. But no, it's disgusting. And to be fair, it's been that way for like 500 years, to be honest with you. It's not... It's a horrible river. It's a really disgusting thing. Once you get towards London, at its source, it's fine. Up in the fucking whatever hills, and then once it gets towards London, it's literally green. The water
Really
is actually fucking green. If you drop a piece of like white paper into the water, once it sinks an inch, you can't see it anymore.
About the Norfolk Broads in that respect.
Yeah. And that was before they just allowed them to just pump nothing but pure shit into the rivers. Like, I imagine it's probably worse since the last time I was in London. Actually, no, I was in London a few months ago for that march, but I didn't go near the river particularly. But I suppose I was relatively near. I just didn't go and look at it because why would you? Anyway, so it's like if you want to pick up bacterial infection, go for a swim.
Services are in a mess. You know, the education system in some areas is in a mess. We really need to dramatically improve.
Oh, that's a good thing
society
actually.
for Britain.
That's a good link there, Ben. I appreciate that one. This particular billionaire said that he would leave the UK to avoid being, and this is a direct quote, being raped by taxes if Corbyn becomes Prime Minister.
There are several jokes I could do, but I don't want to get cancelled. I'll just say that does not sound like the words of a philanthropist. Those sound like the words of a monster.
That's a good compromise. Yes, this is not indeed something that a philanthropist would say.
No, that's what you want is to be treated as good. So you give a tiny proportion of your money to like a good cause, and then you get to pretend like you're not a monster, whereas actually what you are is the devil. You're literally
and also
the
you
devil.
get tax breaks for your troubles too.
Yeah, you can almost certainly write it off as tax. By the way, that's a thing worth looking into. When you have companies like McDonald's or those other large companies that have like a charity thing at the front of their on their when you go to pay for your stuff at the till, that money, if you actually donate to that, will be written off as part of their tax. So if you're going to give to a charity, don't do it in that method, because you're essentially saving McDonald's tax. It's disgusting. I don't know why or how that's illegal. Oh yeah, because they own the government.
They do indeed own the government.
Thank you, Wayward Historian, for gifting a sub to Sister Rose. Wow, hello Sister Rose. Everyone go and follow Sister Rose immediately.
And thank you, Grant, for the 5 gifts on your end as well.
On urine?
There was a 10 gift earlier as well.
On urine? Anyway.
So as opposed to over that. Sorry.
Never mind.
Mixed metaphors.
Fine. It's fine. In the 1980s, I was canoeing in the River Thames. Well, presumably you're then typing this from beyond the grave, I imagine. I don't know how you could possibly have survived canoeing in the Thames. Don't they literally, after the boat race, don't they have to put the rowers down? The bolt gun of mercy comes out to stop stop the spread of the disease that they caught during the race.
In the boat, literally in the boat race, they had to stop dunking the cocks into the water at the end because it was too filthy to do it, and they kept getting ill.
Yeah. We should point out, when they say dunking their cocks into the river, it's not as funny as it sounds. That's the man that stands at the front going, "Row your cunts," or words to those effect.
Yeah, when it's short for coxswain.
True, but like, I know my audience, and they heard the phrase "dunking their cocks," and they just instantly started masturbating. Presumably, I don't know. They are absolute filth, and I love them.
For the poorer people, we can only though
just
do
literally just see people in your chat just saying "dunking the cocks." What?
I told you. I knew as soon as you said it. Like, I knew you meant the sporting term, right? But they, no. And to be fair, rowing is a really silly, like, old English dumbass sport, which is why we win all of the golds. It's one of the things we're good at.
It's literally the poshest, cuntiest sport for the poshest cunts.
Yeah, literally true. I love the Olympics because we win stuff sat down. I don't know if you've noticed that. Right? We win cycling, sitting on your ass. We win canoeing. We win rowing, sailing. Ask us to run anywhere, you got no fucking chance. What's that? You want me to stand up and throw a thing? No, thank you very much. No.
Through the raising of GDP per capita and therefore the tax dollars that come in as a result. We can't just think we can tax the rich, but I'll make it clear from my viewpoint that I don't think we couldn't raise income tax for the rich by 5 pence on the pound or whatever, because would that make a difference to most people? No, it wouldn't. And the people that want to avoid tax have already left because they don't want to pay the 45%.
So you're saying actually you could put
You said that, but you said that you wanted to do that in the instance where Jeremy Corbyn would have taxed you.
Yeah. It's almost like he's full of shit. Almost.
And it wouldn't make a difference.
I don't think it made any difference at all. It's not about the income tax rate going up by 5p. It's about the whole package of measures that make Britain look environmentally friendly for businesses. Mm-hmm. And when the Labour minister
what about environmentally
says
friendly for
the rogue
the
operators
environment?
like
No, just for Labour. Hello there, son of Ra. You should hit the follow button. Fucking do it. And now I just feel like a dom. Just being rude to people.
You're getting off on this?
I'll be honest with you, I'm not getting off on this. Yeah.
P&O. I don't know the ins and outs of that, but what I do know is it's politically stupid to condemn somebody when you want them to invest in Britain. What you should be doing is working behind the scenes to persuade them to improve their relationships, to do things that are more in line with humanitarian employment, rather than just blast them on the TV and cause a real headline that's damaging to the Labour Party and damaging to the business.
Not damaging to the country or the people, just business and the Labour Party are the only things that matter.
That is the country and the people, well, the ones that matter anyway.
Yeah, clearly.
Need to treasure these people, but persuade them.
No, we're not doing the pay pigs. Stop it.
Internally to improve what they do as a humanitarian society.
Daisy, did Jonathan Reynolds persuade you?
What we Liberal Democrats have been saying, and what we hope the Labour government will hear, is that fundamentally we've got to fix our NHS and care, because health and wealth are two sides of the same coin, and we're not going to get our economy back on track unless we fix our NHS and care services. And we've set out many ideas in our manifesto on how that could happen. But I would agree one of the really important things is not only...
Have you considered a 6p bag tax?
Yeah, true. Imagine how much we would... Imagine how much we could cut benefits by if we did an end of eve of conference deal with the Conservatives by getting bags up to 7p.
Oh, God, we could literally mince disabled people for that. I think so.
Literally, imagine how much glue revenue we could get.
Like the fucking horses. Shit. Oh, we're back to Vosh again. Jesus.
to get inward investment. But we've also got to support our small businesses. You know, we've got small businesses and high streets that are still really, really struggling after the pandemic and Brexit and everything else that's happened. And I really want to see something from the Labour government that's going to support our small businesses and also get our NHS and care back on their feet.
But in the big picture, where we think things are heading with the budget, it looks incredibly likely that Rachel Reeves is going to move around the rules so that she can borrow more money to invest more money. Are the Lib Dems going to back her doing that?
I think productive borrowing is a good thing. We've got to remember that after the last Conservative government, so many things are broken. We have crumbling hospitals, we've got crumbling schools.
Who enabled them? Can we ask that? Were there any group of people who enabled the Tory party putting Britain into this parlous state to begin with?
It's so frustrating that throughout the entire election campaign, the Lib Dems' complicity in the economic vandalism of the coalition government was entirely encapsulated in a single point that was made by Michal Hussain in the BBC debate, specifically just about tuition fees. And at no point throughout the entire election campaign did anybody mention at all, you know, maybe you shouldn't have socially murdered all of those poor people when you were in government.
And it's so annoying because Ed Davey was literally in that fucking government. It's not like they had like a new person who was completely fresh and didn't have that stank on them.
Like Danny Alexander was fucking Chief Secretary to the Treasury.
Yep. Literally, they were at the core of all of that shit. And then Clegg fucked off and went and joined Facebook. Which, I mean, I don't. Is that more or less evil? I don't know which is worse, the British government or Facebook. It gets either way. It's from the frying pan into the fire of evil. Yeah, but most people are like, oh, isn't it funny that Ed Davey was doing some paragliding? Whoa! Yeah, he killed people. His policy choices killed people.
Yeah, and like loads of other stupid things, like Vince Cable was Business and Trade Secretary when they privatised Royal Mail for fucking peanuts, which then massively increased in value as soon as it was privatised. So clearly we undervalued it when we sold it. As Ruben points out in chat, Ed Davey still refuses to admit that austerity was wrong. And just like fucking a month before the election, Christine Jardine was talking to Nish Kumar and bringing up the fucking Greg Hans meme about the note that was left in the Treasury about there being no money left. They are literally just the Conservative Party when talking about their time in government.
Yep.
You've got crumbling prisons. You've got to get the money from somewhere, and borrowing to invest in a way that's going to be productive and boost the economy is a good thing. But on all the
okay, why didn't you make that point when you were in fucking government?
Obviously, now they're in opposition. They don't have to care about the actual reality of the things that they say.
Which is back to, I mean, look, the Lib Dems are back where they're most comfortable, talking shit. Talking shit on the opposition benches. Although they're also doing the annoying thing now of, like, Ed Davey trying to reach across the aisle and be like, I hope the government can agree on this point. I hope we can find some consensus here. Like, and I just want to trebuchet everything in the world. Everything.
Actually, the worst thing is when somebody says, well, when the politicians just come together to get a sensible solution. Because, like, all politics is ideology. I'm sorry, there is no such thing as pragmatic but not ideological. There is only ideology and different policies towards those ends.
Yeah. But, I mean, the Lib Dems, again, this is the I mean, it's not quite Fukuyama-esque, but it's similar thing of, like, there is one truth, there is one correct position, and the Liberal Democrats / Labour Party, you know, that kind of centre-right bullshit, they think theirs is the truth. Everyone else is either far right or far left.
Exactly. Like, it's just like talking about things like prioritising economic growth or, you know, wanting to run a balanced budget is treated like consensus politics when it is explicitly neoliberal in its ideology. It's why George Monbiot calls it the invisible ideology, because it treats itself like common sense, and people will refer to it as common sense.
Whereas, of course, it's pure ideology. Sniff.
Pure ideology. Also, thank you, Phil, for the 10 gifted. Appreciate it.
Other taxes, what I would say is Liberal Democrats are very clear we should not be putting up taxes on struggling families whilst we're still in a cost of living crisis, but there are big corporations that could be paying a little bit more to get our public services back on their feet.
Well, John said he's happy to pay an extra 5p on income tax, so that might be a big amount of cash in itself. But just to press you on that specific though, if Rachel Reeves comes to the dispatch box at the budget and says, despite saying I'm not going to tinker with things, I am going to change the government debt and borrowing rules so that I can spend more on roads and rails or whatever it may be. Will the Lib Dems support her in doing that?
On that very specific measure, we do think that if she does decide to change those rules, it would be a good thing to do.
Sorry,
It's already
pause
been
again.
welcomed.
Ben just keeps throwing the receipts out. The excellent receipts, like a receipt machine here. In 2019, laying out the party's economic pitch in a speech in Leeds, Deputy Leader Ed Davey insisted both Johnson's Conservatives and Corbyn's Labour were offering fantasies which would wreck the public finances. So Ed said that if they got into government, the Lib Dems would run a 1% surplus. He claimed a Remain bonus would help shore up state finances. And by the way, if I remember correctly, Ben, I think you showed me the manifesto of the Grey Book that they included their Remain bonus as being £40 billion.
You dopey cunts. Let alone, I mean, how much would the political instability of going against the public vote, how would that factor into the 40 billion, I wonder? But also, yeah, again, that rather sums up the point rather nicely. That anything vaguely steering away from the one truth of the neoliberal is evil and bad and a pipe dream and student politics. It's pathetic.
Like, the thing is that manifesto, yeah, as Ben points out in chat, that manifesto, like, half of their policies was being funded by the supposed Remain bonus. So if anybody was taking the public finances for granted, it was these people who hadn't clue what they were talking about. Just well, if we go back to the European Union, the money birds will return, like they apparently would because of all the stupid Brexit adverts, right? But the reverse with regards to the European Union, we can spend this on all the things that we want. Well, we have to make sure that we have the quick queue to our house in the south of France.
It was very funny to see like these fucking Tories going on about like, the Brexit benefits or the Brexit dividend and all of that shit, and then the Lib Dems on the other side going the Remain dividend, and you're just like, in British politics you can just say things, you don't actually need to back any of it up. It doesn't. You can just lie. You can just lie really easily, and again, it goes back to the British public. Partly it's obviously the consent machine going brrr again, of course. The media lying to people and making the narrative so that they'll believe any old shite, basically. But also, there's a genuine lack of curiosity from the British people. And I don't think it's just a modern thing. I think this has existed for a long time. Whenever there's been great spats of, like, revolutionary politics, Britain has generally tended not to bother, which is a bit fucking annoying. So I think there is a genuine kind of incuriosity about the British people that just means they kind of want to lie. They're ready to have their wallets inspected.
Absolutely, their wallet inspection. They're fucking addicted to having their wallets inspected.
Yeah.
The thing is, what's frustrating about Brexit specifically in issues. Obviously, you and I both agree that we shouldn't have left, and that leaving was a terrible idea. And all it did was create loads of political and social instability that was unnecessary. And all it's done is hurt the country, right? But because obviously there were lies about Brexit being told by the Brexiteers, and to be fair, some Remainers as well, but mostly the Brexiteers, about the potential for the Brexit dividend, the Brexit benefits. And because of this, a lot of pro-Remain people thought that this meant that there was like an establishment plot to create Brexit, which is of course the opposite being true. The establishment in government at the time supported Brexit, supported Remaining, which was David Cameron, and some of the opposition and the Labour Party, both Jeremy Corbyn and the centrist Labour right people as well. But the actual truth is that there was just two sides of the rich who both support each side of Brexit. It wasn't a tussle between the people and the elites, like people on both sides of the debate tried to claim that it was. It was a bunch of rich people who would benefit from Brexit on one side, and a bunch of rich people who would benefit from remaining on the other side, fighting over who has the easiest go of the economy. Like people who trade with Europe wanted to be a member of the EU. People who were mostly trading specifically within the UK liked being in the UK. Like, for example, Wetherspoons wanted Brexit because it allowed them easier access to be able to corner the UK market because they had sweetheart deals with local breweries. So import costs on foreign imports would make it harder for people to compete with Wetherspoons. It's not exactly rocket science. But the idea that it was somehow that the elites were in control of one side when they were in control of both sides, right?
Yeah.
There were reasonable arguments to Remaining that we both support. But that doesn't mean that there were plenty of capitalist reasons that rich people wanted to stay in the EU
Well,
that weren't in the best interest of everybody else.
That was what was really frustrating, is that there were good leftist reasons to stay and there were good leftist reasons to remain, and neither side ever argued any of those points. It was just
exactly
remain dickheads going, it's good for capitalism if we stay, and leave dickheads going, we'd be able to fuck over the foreigners easier if we leave, and that was it. For 2 months, and I honestly, my head was in my fucking hands the entire time. It was awful.
Yeah, so it was capitalist civil war is a really good way of putting it, Solly.
Yeah. And also, going back briefly to the Alex Salmond of all people, it was Alex Salmond's ultimate defeat in the 2014 referendum, which even led to the Brexit referendum in the first place. David Cameron, I don't think, would have had the confidence to be able to call that referendum if he hadn't gone, if he thought, well, I'll chance my arm again, basically. I did it once and people voted for the status quo. I'll do it again. And thought, I can head this off at the pass, and then fucked it up royally. And then, to quote a great philosopher of our time, he went and put his trotters up in the south of France. The twat.
He did indeed in Nice.
Indeed, yeah. I don't know why he's talking to a tree.
By a number of sort of financial economic think tanks as well. And I think we have got to find ways of investing to rebuild our country. We Liberal Democrats want the Labour...
How did it need rebuilding? Was there something that people may have been involved in that led to it being destroyed? No, it's probably just the Tories. Just the Tories specifically from 2015 onwards that did everything bad.
government to be really ambitious, and if we can raise more capital to invest and rebuild our hospitals and our schools, and we can do that in a way whilst retaining economic stability at the same time, then absolutely we would support that.
Brian, this all comes at a time when Labour's just passed its 100 days in office. What do you make of what they've done? I mean, Keir Starmer said he's had some side winds and choppy days, which I think is political speak for saying they've been some absolute howlers. But how would you review their performance?
I find it really difficult because I really don't think much of their performance, honestly. But as John just picked up on, there are so many other elements too which are really undermining what we do, particularly the things like TikTok, like Facebook, what have you. And these are very difficult to control. These are almost impossible to control. So,
which is why they want to ban them or make them be owned by companies that are the government like. That sort of thing.
It's China.
Yeah. China. It's okay if American companies have all of your data and can manipulate politics through the algorithm, but not if it's a foreignoid.
And ultimately, they have an undermining effect. And we've got to have some way of controlling that, some way of actually shoring up our economy in that way so that we don't have these rogue people kind of undermining it all the time. And that's so difficult now because there's so much going on. We're not at the mercy of it's not a straight game anymore. It's quite convoluted. And
it's not a straight game. It's a gay as fuck game. Let's go.
It's a game.
Convolution that is actually undermining at the end of the day.
That's interesting. One thing that is in the government's control, though, was their decision early on, which surprised a lot of people, including in their own party, as well as many of our viewers, was the decision about winter fuel. Now, you, if you don't mind me saying, you would qualify for the winter fuel payment. I think, John, you might also as well. What do you think of them removing it?
You're both really fucking old. I mean, to be fair, yeah. One of them's got white hair and one of them doesn't have hair. Yeah.
True.
I think that there's again, there are people who can afford it and there are people who can't afford it. And there are elderly people who can afford it and elderly people who can't afford it. But it's a sort of, when you make a sort of bland kind of pass of that, it kind of undermines the situation because you're not actually looking at the reality. And the reality, there are people who can afford to forgo winter fuel. But there are a lot of people, I don't know what the proportion is, but there's many people who can't afford it. And they have.
Yeah, and this is the thing. Again, it doesn't matter how many people. If it's one fucking person and we can save that person's life, it's worth not fucking it up. Do you know what I mean? Like, and the fact that it's going to be potentially tens of thousands of people put in danger, of which thousands will die. Don't fucking do this. This is just evil. And it's not even going to save any fucking money. It's such a look. Again, the cruelty is the point. And in this instance, I don't think it's because they necessarily want to be cruel in the way the Tories do want to be cruel. Because I think there are a lot of Labour politicians who more naturally don't come from that world. I don't think Angela Rayner comes from that place, right? She comes up through the trade union movement and stuff. I think her natural instinct is to not do this. But A, Westminster politics sucks you into that kind of bubble, and B, they want to send a message to ordinary voters via the kind of right-wing press that they're safe hands, that they're the adults in the room.
Fiscally credible.
Exactly. And so they have to do these performatively fucking evil things to try and show, well, we're not going to do a revolutionary change or anything. And then they get to tinker around the edges with like some, maybe putting tax on fucking private schools or something. Like, it's just, at best they're going to be able to tinker around the edges whilst doing social murder, and that's the best we can hope for. This is the Labour Party. The fuck? How are you not just the Tory Party? Seriously. I'd like anyone to fucking defend that point.
That's the thing, is that it was such a gigantic miss as well, because I think that they still are living in the world that they lost the 2015 election because they couldn't have they weren't be seen as competent enough to have a deficit reduction plan. That was the whole fucking shtick. And they seem to still live in this world. And actually, no one wants this. Literally nobody wants their fucking vibes-based governance anymore. They want governance that is in the interest of the public. They want people to be prioritised in terms of policy. That's what they actually want. There's no appetite for this austerity bullshit and saying let's make the tough decisions because it makes us look like we're competent governors. There might be some people who want it, but most people do not want this stuff, and it's making the public fucking despise them.
You know who does want it? Bankers. You know who does want it? Murdoch.
John Caldwell.
You know who does want it? People who can afford to buy Arsenal tickets.
Ooh, indeed. Or could donate £4 million to the Labour Party.
Indeed. Have desperate pensioners who are going to freeze to death, have they thought about buying the Prime Minister's wife some dresses? No, they fucking haven't.
Exactly. You know, they could pull themselves up by their bootstraps and go buy some dresses.
Literally.
To be considered.
John, what did you make of that decision?
I think it's absolutely right. I think it's just ridiculous that the wealthier pensioners, and I don't just mean me with my wealth, I'm talking about lots of wealthier pensioners, have that sort of allowance. Why would we complex this?
I don't know if it's just because he's old, but the fact that he's got his jaw slightly open here, Brian Cox looks like he's about to dive across the table at him. I don't think obviously he's not going to, and I think it is just because he's sort of turned to the side, but like, he looks really like, the fuck do you just say?
Society with multiple allowances. They get pension credits. Make certain that when you abolish something, you look after the poorer members of the pensioner community and you do it through pensioner credits. Solve that problem and save maybe hundreds of millions on the people that don't need that allowance and simplify the system.
But I hate this. I hate this. Look, why are we tinkering at the edges saving hundreds of millions? We know that tax avoidance is hundreds of billions.
Yeah.
Billions with a B. This is a drop in the bucket. I don't give a fuck. Give Mick Jagger 500 quid and then take the fucking tax the cunt owes.
Exactly,
it's fine.
Literally.
Not that I'm suggesting that Mick Jagger avoids paying tax. I'm just saying, like, that if you tax rich
he should be
people,
paying more.
He should be paying more. But I'm just, for legal reasons, I'm not suggesting he isn't paying the appropriate legal amount of tax.
Yeah.
But like, if you tax the rich people, we could just afford to just universalise it, and then no one falls through the cracks. I don't give a fuck if Brian Cox gets his money. Who gives a shit? I don't want pensioners to freeze to death.
It's really simple, isn't it?
Oh, fucking hell.
And he's even saying, like, why he even said, why we, making this complex. I'm like, you want to make it complex by administering a fucking means test.
It's currently not complex in that everyone gets it. Very simple, one size fits all. Boom. You're the dickhead trying to make it complex. You're the one adding in complexity to the situation, which is going to fuck it up.
Yes, literally.
even know how much this is actually going to save now, because if more people claim pension credit, then actually it might end up balancing out. Daisy, you were shaking your head then.
Yeah, look, I think it's the wrong decision. We're very clear it's the wrong decision, and we really want to urge Labour to think again. Of course, there are wealthier pensioners who readily admit themselves that they don't need it, but Age UK has said there are around 2 million very vulnerable pensioners who are going to lose out, and they've had no time to plan. Well, precisely.
We can solve them on
but so the
pensioner
Labour
credits.
government could think again.
No, you can't.
Either
Whoa, no, you can't. And if you did, you wouldn't save anything, because paying that extra pensioner credit to those people would wipe out anything you gained from this.
Yes.
So literally, so either you're lying in one direction or the other. And I don't care which it is, you're lying. Stop fucking lying.
Well, they are absolutely lying, and they're lying mostly because this has never been about balancing the books. As you said before, it is about trying to appear as if they're engaging in good governance. They're trying to create the good governance vibes. Even if it's bad governance, even if people hate it, the vibes is, well, we have to take quote-unquote tough decisions to make it look like we're not just giving away free money for nothing, even though that would literally be better what they're currently doing. And of course, it won't actually even plug the gap because of all the money they're going to have to spend on new applications for pension credit. There's nothing to do with fiscal flexibility. There's nothing to do with fiscal competence and being serious and looking sensible. What it's actually about is their means-testing fetishism. That's what it's about. They are means-testing fetishists. They want to do means testing because they think it gives them the good feels. The thing in UK politics that drives me round the fucking bend is this unshakable belief that basically 95% of the electorate have, that we should never ever do anything for something who we don't perceive to deserve it.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter how positive the utility is. Doesn't matter whether it costs more to administer a means test. That is far better to give some amount of money for Capita or some other subcontractor to administer some kind of arbitrary threshold to get the thing, as long as it means that someone who I perceive to have not deserved government support to have gotten government support. It's neurotic, it's myopic, it's stupid. Stop it.
Yes. Yes. Very well put.
State the winter fuel allowance and make it taxable, or they could maybe raise pension credit. But ultimately, I think some of the statistics show that if everybody who is entitled to pension credit actually took it up, it might actually cost even more. So I think this has been done in a very clumsy way. It's wrong, and we still urge the Labour government to think again to protect the most vulnerable.
I don't agree with that at all, because the very point that you make, that if everybody claims...
Yeah, but you're very rich, so I don't care what you think. Fuck
exactly.
you.
Again, you compared being taxed slightly under... You compared being taxed slightly more by Jeremy Corbyn as akin to one of the most heinous crimes outside of murder. So I don't really think I give a shit what your opinion is on fiscal policy.
Yeah.
Claimed it would cost us more. Well, if they're entitled to it, they should get it. And why shouldn't it cost us more? You know, if we've got pensioners out there that are not claiming it because they don't understand how to do it or whatever.
Well, no, dickhead. The whole purpose of this fucking thing was, we've got 22 billion. We don't want to have to do this, but it's 22 billion. 22 billion, 22 billion. If it costs more, why are we doing it at all? If it costs more and we've got a 22 billion hole to fill, why are we making that hole larger? Why not just leave it?
Exactly, literally, because again, like it's just rhetoric. There's no actual reason for doing it.
Yeah.
Other than wanting to do a means test. And the thing is, the public actually, when polled, broadly support this. Because again, mostly because Labour are buying into a stupid idea about people only getting things that we perceive to deserve it, and this denigration of the efficacy of the welfare state. Yeah. Over the past, and certainly the last 15 years, but almost certainly ever since kind of 2005 and like the benefit street style mockery of those who require government support.
Yeah, and if you just give it a surface level scan, means testing sounds like a wonderful thing. It sounds like, oh, you're stopping rich people getting the money, but the poor people get protected, and the taxpayer gets value for money. Awesome, but of course that's not how it works in reality. We know it isn't. We know that. Often the most vulnerable are the least able to access it. They're the least likely people to be able to do so without assistance, and that assistance isn't there because, again, the administrative state has been cut to the bone. And, of course, some people will refuse to, because there are lots of people who come from a different generation who don't want to take that money. They don't want it to, they're not going to apply for it because that's not the society in which they grew up. That's not something they're culturally akin to doing. So you have to essentially force them to take the fucking money.
Yep.
So literally, even if you have to pay them to protect them against themselves, do it. Because I don't give a fuck about anything other than literally saving their fucking lives, even if they are stubborn old pricks.
Credit form is so
sorry,
incredibly
just a
long
moment.
and complicated.
Yeah, but that's not the point. You said it would cost us more. It doesn't matter if it costs us more. If that's fair and right and proper, it should cost.
But it does. No, it does matter, because the whole reason of doing the policy was that it was going to cost us a lot less. It's silly. Look, if it costs less to give you 200 quid than to just not bother doing anything in the first place, I'll give him the 200 quid then. I don't give a fuck.
Exactly.
What the fuck?
Not exactly a huge amount of money to him.
No,
so...
it's irrelevant. Especially because we're going to put 5p in the pound, aren't we, mate? Aren't you? That's what you said earlier, lying. So we'll get it back off you. You know what I mean? Like, that's fine. Yeah, do it that way.
Costs us more, and we get the money from somewhere else. But I just make the point, why are all the wealthy pensioners, and I don't mean wealthy being rich pensioners, I mean those that can afford, why should they get a pension credit or get a winter fuel allowance? It's nonsense.
I think we agree on the same principles. We both agree that the richest shouldn't get it, but we both agree the Labour government needs to think again to find a way.
Oh my god! Oh my fucking god! Literally, the discourse is so screwed up that even the person who's defending the winter fuel payment is still going, "Oh well, we should absolutely means test it." The problem is the way they've implemented the means test. No, just don't do a fucking means test. It's stupid. It's bad. It's inefficient. It's garbage. Oh my god! Like the level of the discourse, we can't even get people to admit the universalism is good. Like,
well, because it's the Liberal
self-described
Democrats.
Labour Party, like the self-described like lifetime Labour voters are going, well, of course we should be tested. Of course we should be tested. We're lost. We're gone. This society's fucked. Like, where there is just no place for universalism anymore.
Yeah.
Making sure the most vulnerable don't lose out.
We don't agree with that, because the simple point is that I don't know whether they've thought again. I don't know. You know, the big point of all of this is, are politicians good operators? Do they just talk a good story, or do they follow through with the operation that they need to do to put things right?
Are politicians good operators is something that we
the
debate every single week.
The answer to that is going to become clear, isn't it? Will they deal with this winter fuel allowance abolition in a correct and fair and proper way? I hope they do.
Okay,
but that's only one part of it.
It is only one part of it, and we might come back to this.
Well, no, don't let a progressive voice come in on this conversation. No.
No, indeed.
Cut him off, definitely. Yeah.
That debate is.
Let these two fucking wankers Twitter on for fucking ages, and then he pops up with, actually, I've got a nuanced further point to make. No, we've got to move on and talk to another ghoul.
Raging for a couple of months now, and there's no sign of it going away in this studio or anywhere else. All three of you, thank you for now.
Yeah, let's not have a progressive voice. Anyway, Bobby J, tell me how we should tackle the migrants. Should we sink all of them, or just some of them, and then let the other ones swim away?
How much state investment are you putting aside for the camps? If they said we needed investment, how about we invest in some camps?
Well, look, it might be the only way you get a Tory to agree to railway investment, is that we need the cattle trucks to move. So, you know, like, that might be the only way we get the HS2 built.
You know, exactly. If we not only are we going to be investing in railways, we're also going to be recreating the artistic vision of Britain as shown in Pink Floyd's The Wall. True.
Can we get Geldof in as well?
Literally, you know, you could recreate the bit of the film where the children are being sent off in trucks, in trains, sorry, right?
Yeah.
And you could just Photoshop in Robert Jenrick painting of a Mickey Mouse in the background.
Yeah, true.
We'll be back with you in a while. So, talking of political operators who have incredible influence, but only a handful of politicians truly change their countries in the course of their career. Alex Salmond was one who certainly did. He took the SNP from the fringes to the First Minister's office, and to see the SNP become.
And again, it really is so annoying, because he's at the early part of his career, well, I genuinely quite liked him. He seemed like a decent guy. He was running a pretty progressive government, really. And very nearly won the biggest change to the constitution in recent times in Britain. And then when that failed, he went, oh, fuck it, the transes are bad. Woke mind virus for the last decade of his life. And you just, oh, why'd you ruin it, you prick? I was literally, I do a thing on my channel where if a bad person dies, I do a fake eulogy and then say, can we have a moment's silence? And then it cuts to me dressed as a crab and we do the crab dance. Right? That's the joke. And I did it about a Nazi who fell off Hitler's favourite mountain into his death yesterday. Very funny story. And the news of him dying broke a couple of hours before I went live, and I considered changing it to Alex Salmond. That's how far he slipped in my mind.
Wow, that's a long way.
Yeah. But no, we went with the Nazi in the end, and it was very funny. Anyway.
Most powerful force in Scotland, and nearly, very nearly, managing to take Scotland out of the United Kingdom to independence.
Well, the sexual assault thing, was that ever, like, actually, did that go anywhere? Because he was never convicted of anything, was he? So was he was he creepy, or was he actually like an assaulter?
I mean, people say the accusations were credible.
That's the thing, I don't know enough about it, but, yeah. Bro, how do you watch something and share your camera on Twitch? With a thing called OBS. It's a good system. And I don't mean that sounded sarcastic because I can only speak in sarcasm. Like, that's my accent, is sarcasm, right? But yeah, you get a thing called OBS and you can put all kinds of images and things on the screen. Yeah. Also, hit the follow button, friend.
Do it.
Put his party on the map and the union on the agenda in ways that terrified the main UK parties. He lost the argument in 2014, and then ultimately he left the...
No, I think he won the argument. He lost the vote. He definitely won the argument, because they went into that with no chance of winning. And it was only Gordon Brown selling his fucking soul, making promises that he knew the Tories had no chance of keeping. Literally, he promised a white paper on increased powers for the Scottish Parliament in a time frame that wasn't actually possible.
You'd have thought all of those lies that had been told, you know, that people might change their opinion and be pro-indie, and it seems like it's stalled at like 48%.
Yeah, it's basically where it is. Like, there's not much movement in the game. I think as older, more unionist people die off and younger, more separationist type people become part of the cohort, I think it will begin to shift slightly. But that could take 10, 15, 20, 30 years, you know.
And also I think that if there is a future referendum on independence, it's probably going to have to be a 60-40.
Yeah.
You're probably going to need a supermajority if you're going to actually do it, because everyone's already burnt by the close vote on Brexit.
Yeah.
And the fucking shit pie that served up.
Sure.
Everyone's going to be really, really... it's going to be apprehensive and cautious about big kind of political changes like that, given just how much of a shit show Brexit was. There are probably people who think the independence would be better who would vote no on independence just because they don't want to go through the same shit they went through with Brexit.
Yeah. Well, yeah, there's inherently the status quo of sticking with what you know is difficult to overcome. That's why Brexit was such a strange thing that people didn't expect to happen. Because overcoming that, there's an inherent built-in conservative with a small c nature to what Britain is. And I think, to be fair, it's the case for most kind of relatively affluent places. Because times are reasonably good. Like, you look at places around the world where you have political instability, when they maybe change and do something a bit more radical, and it doesn't work out because America overthrows your socialist government, and you think, well, fuck it, we'll stick with what we've got. And the same is true in Scotland. Yeah.
We have far more to lose than, I don't know, the people of Eswatini.
Literally so. Although we should change our name to something cool like Eswatini. Just saying.
They used to be called Swaziland.
They did.
And Eswatini is just Swazi for Swaziland.
Literally true. Yes, he was found not proven, not guilty. Just as a little aside, which I forgot is even a thing they do in Scotland, which is like halfway between guilty and innocent, like not proven. So you're not we're not saying you're definitely not guilty, just. Like, it's like, we find
lack
you...
of evidence for a conviction.
Yeah, we can't convict you under the thing, but we find you a bit sus. Sussy backer.
That's the Frankie Boyle joke, which was like, to summarise, there is no evidence. We just look a bit rapey.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, literally, yeah.
SNP for a smaller party, Alba, but he was still making his case not long ago. We last spoke to him in April.
What's in the interest of Scotland just now, in my estimation, is to get independence back to the top of the political agenda, to move away from the culture wars, identity politics that are so divisive in Scottish.
Is that why you're running a a political party that was explicitly culture warriors? Like literally
Exactly,
what
this
you
was-
did.
yeah.
You
It's the
did
dumbest
this.
thing, yeah.
Yeah.
Like, he is the one who is obsessed with the identity politics. He is the one
Yeah.
who keeps banging on about culture wars, you know.
Yeah.
If you want people to shut about culture wars, just shut up about it.
Yeah.
You are the one who
Scottish
keep
government
bringing it up.
The Scottish government passed one piece of legislation, which, by the way, the British government ripped up the constitutional arrangement that we had by overruling the Scottish government on something that didn't really matter to the people of England or Wales or Northern Ireland. Thanks.
Society, and to get the Scottish Parliament onto, let's call it the people's agenda.
There were, though, multiple claims about his behaviour around
Hang on, agenda? I thought he was against all this woke stuff. What?
True.
women over the years. He was never convicted, but his lawyer admitted during a high-profile trial that he did behave badly. Then, of course...
Okay, if your own lawyer is saying that... that doesn't pass the sniff test. Yeah. that's not a good one.
It's sassy.
Ooh, grim. Grim.
There was the bitterest fallout.
Maybe I should have done the crab dance for him. No, it was alright. The Nazi died. That was fine.
Nicola Sturgeon, his protege, and that soured the last few years. It was a rift between him and the party he'd built and loved was never healed. Before his death yesterday afternoon at the age of only 69.
Nice.
Well, we can talk now this morning to
Also,
John Swinney. who's
speaking of
Scotland's
funny
current...
moments,
did
you see the Elon Musk and his fucking car show that tanked Tesla stock?
Oh, mate. Right, I've said this for a long time, and I still have this with basically everything these tech bro pricks do. Every once in a while, they come out with something that they think is a new invention, that is just a reworking, but shitter and more expensive of something that already existed.
Oh yeah,
Right?
it's like when I said the Mia Mulder video I mentioned about what 3 words. Yeah,
Yeah.
Just another shit thing reinventing something that works better already.
Yeah.
By making it tech bro and adding gamer lights.
Yeah, the Hyperloop. He took the pre-existing technology of the tunnel, which had existed since like forever, basically. Just dig a hole through a thing that's in the way. Very, very effective piece of technology, that. Right? You have to prop it up and stuff to stop the mountain falling on you, but if you do that, perfect. You can build a road or anything. It's wonderful. He took that, made it so shit that only one type of vehicle could go through it, and if you crashed, you just died in a firestorm.
Literally.
So that was brilliant. He's taken the car and made a shit version of it that looks awful, doesn't work, and will chop your children's fingers off. And this one, the robo-taxi, what he's invented here is something with ground clearance that won't go over a speed bump, and it's a bus. A pre-existing piece of technology. It's just a bus.
Yeah, exactly. It's terrible. But for some reason, I just went to check Twitter, and I got followed by a content editor for the Financial Times, and she shared a piece, and just the entire FT article about the Elon Musk incident is just titled "Man Shows Car, Shares Fall." And I'm just like, yeah, true. That's exactly what happened.
That's journalism. Tell me in simple words what the fuck happened. Yes. I absolutely stand that kind of journalism. That's wonderful. Yes. Yeah, because it literally, he's so shit. This prick's going to get us to Mars. He can't create a fucking car. He can't do a proper car, and we've been doing those for 100 years and more. Like, fucking Henry Ford made a workable car. Fucking hell. He was also a Nazi, though, so similarities, I guess.
First Minister and leader of the SNP. Thank you very much indeed for your time today.
So, well, it's gone midnight. Do you want to watch the rest of this tomorrow?
Yeah.
We've only got through 2/3 of it.
Yeah.
So it would almost certainly take another hour and a half to finish this off.
Fair enough. Yes. Okay. Yeah. Well. Yeah. We can check back in tomorrow. How long have we been going? Yeah, nearly 3 hours. Fuck it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway. Thank you everyone who followed, all of the new people. That was nice.
Absolutely.
Yes. I'll be back.
Go and follow Kev on YouTube as well.
Yeah, go and follow No Justice MTG and all of the platforms. She's much better than I am at this, and she's gonna be big. Get in on the ground floor.
We have different skill sets. Okay, what we're going with.
Okay, I mean that's a much nicer way of putting it. It's a less honest way of putting it, but it is a nicer way of putting it, and I appreciate you. Yes, who should we raid into on the various platforms?
Well, there's no one live on YouTube to raid into, so.
So fuck it, you're not going anywhere, YouTube. Bollocks.
Yeah, there's a Mark Lamont Hill premiere. That I guess
I don't raid into no, unless you're live. You're not going anywhere. You just YouTube viewers. You'll have to go and fuck yourself.
Yeah, should we go to Rhizome?
Rhizome's good. Yeah, it's a good lad
Yeah.
and gets good viewing numbers. He's doing numbers now.
He is indeed. I mean, he's yeah, exactly. I mean, to be fair, you know, watching conservatives brain rot into the fucking stratosphere. It's good content. It's why we watch so much GB News on my channel.
Yeah.
Because watching Rightoids just say the most unhinged shit you've ever seen when they're in their little echo chambers is very funny to me.
Honestly, I genuinely think you could make a channel that's just watching Tim Pool content. You could just watch Tim Pool's content and like point out why it's fucking crazy and shit and wrong, and he's like a corrupt fucking Putin money dick sucker.
I mean,
and it's fine. You could do that. I think you could be successful doing that. Yeah.
I was genuinely tempted to make like a 24/7 James O'Brien piss take stream.
If you do, I would be more than happy to occasionally pop in.
Just become a dedicated James O'Brien hate channel.
That would be good. You could do that. Yeah. I mean, to be fair,
he's got 3 hours of content 5 days a week.
Yeah.
You'd be able to turn that into like 8-hour streams every day of just getting mad at the shit James O'Brien says.
100%. You absolutely could. Yes. And on that bombshell, I'll raid you into Rhizium. Go and follow No Justice. Go and say hello to Rhizium, and we'll be back tomorrow.
Take care, stay safe, and spam the I don't know, the up the right emo. Do that one.
Yes. Confuse an American.
Absolutely. See you later. Bye bye.
Bye.
Everyone. Free Palestine.